God, I'm sweating so profusely because of all this running around. I hope it's functional. But the mic has frozen. No, it's working. It's working. So फिर से refresh तो करना नहीं है. The video is functional. The audio is functional, right? Okay. Okay. Hi everyone. Good evening and welcome to all of you. I hope all of you are keeping well. And whatever has been taught so far is well received. Everything has been interpreted well. And yesterday you all could understand first and foremost that the class is in Hindu or English. Hindu to bhai Sneha no. It is in English for obvious reasons that it is an English medium batch, and it is not a bilingual batch. And anyway, learning essay in bilingual is not only deadly, but it is also something which can damage the possibilities. Like day was fine. It's showing in Hindi. I'm not aware of that. SME, please look into Sneha's concern that why the mains test series Hindi. No idea, no idea. Please look into this concern. SME, please look into this concern associated with essay. If there's some problem in terms of how the session has been uploaded. Must be a tech glitch, all right? Must be a tech glitch. Anyway, if you see any tech glitch, you remember what conversation we have had. Once it is declared it's an English medium batch for 6 days, it's an English medium batch for 6 days. There's any tech glitch whereby it looks like Tamil class or Bengali class or Hindi class or any other class, you can just join it seeing my name without any doubt, okay? And you can have a sense of clarity that this is what we would be dealing with. So yesterday I discussed what is an essay. I discussed the UPSC syllabus with all of you, that what is the expectation of this syllabus from all of you. And after the syllabus, the keywords of the syllabus, I discussed the dimensions. I drew a chart related to it, that how it is important to understand a topic in letter and spirit. Then you have to generate abundant ideas, and then the power of language. I explained each and every aspect in greater detail, whereby I drew all of it and I expected all of you to understand it simultaneously pertaining to the three areas. After that, I provided a breakup of how every segment of essay is important and how we are going to divide the timing, that is the 90 minutes, in such a manner that it is divided into two segments, 50 and 40. In 50 minutes, you are writing the final essay. In 40 minutes, there are various sub-segments associated with it, in which I discussed first the choosing the topic. I allocated 3 minutes. Then there was brainstorming and brain mapping associated with idea generation. I allocated 15 minutes in totality for it. Then there was like 3 to 5 minutes for conceptualizing the introduction, 3 to 5 minutes for conceptualizing the conclusion. Then there was this segment associated with drafting the content of the essay with respect to its organization. So organization of the content, that was 7 to 10 minutes. The best a person can perform is 7, but on an average 10 or 15 minutes is what students do take, even after, I would say, a sizable level of practicing. Then after that, we all can see there is this segment associated with, we can consider the dimension associated with writing the final draft, then polishing the essay 2 minutes, then 2 minutes to calm down, relax and detach. Out of which yesterday I explained you what is polishing the essay, 2 minutes to calm down, relax and detach. In the first point, that is choosing the topic, how to choose the topic, what steps to follow, how it is important to, after like the process of elimination, once you are stuck between two topics, why it is important to choose the one that is closer to your heart, and because it gives you a sense of creativity, a sense of clarity, a possibility to spin better. And after that, I also gave you certain insight associated with After choosing the topic, why it is important to memorize. Once you memorize the content, how that also has a definite impact on the way you interpret the topic. From the word, you understand the world of the word. You start interpreting what the topic is associated with when we are discussing about the given dimension. So, whereas when we are like substantiating the possibilities associated with it, we all can see that when we choose a topic and after we memorize it, each and every single word holds a world of meaning associated with it. And when we understand the world of the word, we are able to understand the possible sub segments that can be opened related to the topic. So that is something which we all can understand, right? So as we are like substantiating the various we can say sub dimensions, we all can further understand that today how we are going to focus massively on the component of idea generation. So first and foremost, like just showing you this is what we were witnessing yesterday, the nature of questions that were asked in 2022 section A and B, 2021 section A and B, and this was a quantum shift from the previous time period. That is, earlier also philosophical essays were asked, but only one section. Now almost two sections are devoted somewhere directly or indirectly with the concerns of philosophical essay. So that's something which was discussed. So this was 2020 passages whereby we could see the first section was devoted to philosophical, the second segment was still somewhere connected to other concerns of GS, other topics and chapters of GS. As we further moved ahead, we could see in 2019 the same thing. Section A was related to philosophical or code based, and section B was associated with the components of general studies. 2018, similar possibility, again section A general, section B was associated with philosophical, and 2018 was the year when this new pattern emerged. So 18, 19, 20, they like stuck with one pattern, that is one section related to philosophical, one section related to GS. 2021, 2022, yet another pattern. Both the sections have a very cliched language which is loaded with a lot of critical reflection. Every single word holds a lot of implicit meaning, hidden meaning, and a philosophical touch to it. So critical reflection associated with the topic is essential to build the content per se. All right, so this is what we all need to understand. All the questions is out of knowledge. So how to develop ideas or knowledge? Well, for that, Rahul, if you remember, I discussed the component related to essay. Sorry, related to ethics. In ethics, what did I say? How do you develop wisdom or knowledge? So you attain wisdom or knowledge from darshan, dhyana, and karma. So darshan is observing. So all the subjects, all the facets that's unfolding before you, reading, learning, and understanding about it. That's darshan. Dhyan is contemplation. Okay, when you contemplate what's there, what's unfolding, what ought to be there. So when you start contemplating, introspecting, what is happening, why is it happening, how is it happening, how is it impacting us by and large, short term, long term. So when you're introspecting, and what possibilities ought to be there, and then after that, the karma means how all of it motivates your action. Action can be in the form of, we can say, mental thought process, it can be in the form of manifested behavior. So all of it leads to the wholesome world of knowledge if we are speaking of it. Okay, so okay, no problem, Manoj. If you have not been in the ethics class, we'll be starting it on the weekend. It will start next weekend onwards, that is 12th onwards. Saturday, Sunday, it will be quite an exhaustive session, more like I would say a marathon run. I'll try to keep it simple and lucid so that bit by bit, chunk after chunk, every chapter makes a sense and you are able to understand it. And the content shall also help you to build a lot of insight associated with essay as well. All right. So any student who has not completed the ethics class, you have the another opportunity to do it for with the weekend batch, that is upcoming weekend batch, not this Saturday, next Saturday and Sunday. All right. So with respect to this given segment, when we are further moving ahead, So 2017 was the simple one. Section A, Section B, all related to GS. So yesterday I discussed and substantiated how to choose a topic. Then we are stepping into idea generation. When we are substantiating the segment of idea generation, we all can see that idea generation is associated with consolidation of all the perspectives, insights, ideas that you have arrived at so far, with all the patterns of knowledge and insight that you have developed so far. Okay, so with respect to this, when we are discussing about this given subsegment, we all can like discuss the given possibilities with two dimensions. One is random brainstorming, and second, we all can connect is associated with we can say brain mapping. So what is random brainstorming? So with respect to random brainstorming, we all can connect it with, we can consider random brainstorming, it is the only tool to create ideas. It is the only tool to create ideas. All right. So, why do I say that it is the only tool to create ideas? So, with respect to this, we all can understand certain basic insights. Um, you can consider this is the first piece of instruction that I'm sharing with all of you. That is brainstorming. This brainstorming that we are going to do, it's a speedy, random process. Speedy means too fast, okay, and random means not organized, not organized, okay, and it is done on a paper with a pen, means shouldn't be done mentally. It shouldn't be done mentally. All right, it shouldn't be done mentally. So when we are moving ahead with respect to this given subdimension of random brainstorming, we all need to huh? What? Okay. So when we are speaking of this given subdimension associated with brainstorming, we all need to understand that this is too random a process. Like let us imagine a situation. Let us consider a boy is going to get married, okay, and or a girl is going to get married, whatever, and they have got engaged and they have wore a ring, and what happens is that after a certain time period, what happens is that just before, few days before the marriage, few relatives from the in-laws side are coming to pay a visit and meet the, like let's say in this case, groom. So the groom is like about to meet certain relatives. So they have just informed the groom, and the ring that the groom is wearing is pretty loose. So what happens is that when like the groom's grandmother, she encourages that please go and get few, like we can say, potatoes out of the sack which is kept in the storeroom, and so that we I just prepare some fritters, I hope you understand, pakoras, okay. So I'll prepare some fritters for the guests and just get some potatoes out of the like gunny sack. So the boy is like little, like not so submissive in this situation, so he's saying that, oh, I'm going to get married, you're asking me to do all the work. And she's like, oh, come on, go, just get lost, because you have to work throughout your life. So just go and get few like potatoes from the sack. So as the god, like this boy dismissively, he goes to the storeroom, tries to pull out, like take some potatoes out. In the process of taking the potatoes out of the bag, let us consider the ring is loose and it slips in the bag. Okay. And as the ring slips in the bag, and people, they just start shouting out for him because the relatives have come and they want to meet him. So now he is like little frenzied, because if the ring is not there, they will be like considering why has he taken out the ring and this and that. So now he is like kind of frenzied, and he really wants to now quickly put the ring back. So what is the fastest way to get the ring? What is the fastest way to get the ring when we speak of this given subsegment? Yes. Okay. Magnet, is he wearing a like iron ring? Definitely not. So okay, all right. So turn the sack upside down, empty the bag. All right, very good, very good. So that's how you all can understand that. Yeah, scattering everything. Yes, exactly. So the way the person has to extract the ring in the similar manner, the spirit of the essay or the essence of the essay is like the ring. Okay. And you have to extract it out of a bag of potatoes, that is a bag of ideas that is there in your brain. So when we speak of brainstorming, okay, whenever we give this term brainstorming, all of you need to understand that this term brainstorming, it's too random a process, it's too fast a process. And how is it done? It is done in a very speedy manner after we memorize the topic. As we memorize the topic, we develop a sense of understanding of that given topic, and then we start recalling and recollecting all the ideas, anything and everything. Like this was a topic which I wrote for all of you yesterday, like education as it should be, right? This was the statement that I wrote, and I asked that if I would have given you like a term like education as it is, or education as it was, or education as it might be, will there be a difference in the content? And you said yes ma'am, there will be a difference in the content. So let us consider this education as it should be. So with respect to this given topic, education as it should be, and as you start memorizing it first and foremost, so it's education, education, education. Shan, tion, is process, process of getting educated. So the process of getting educated, as you're comparing it, it should be, you're comparing it with its aspiration, what should have been there, what like is the expectation, the aspiration. So the moment you start memorizing it, education, education as it should be, education as it should be, education as it should be, when you're doing it in a very speedy format, what happens is every word dawns upon you. So education as it should be. Remember yesterday also we were dealing with a topic similarly, the 2020 topic that was associated with tranquility. So a tranquil self. Remember that we were discussing about that specific topic. If you all can recall it and recollect it, I think it's over here. Mindful manifesto. Mindful manifesto is the catalyst to tranquil self. Yeah. So the moment you memorize it multiple times, okay, so choosing the topic and then we are linking it to idea generation. So the moment you memorize a topic multiple times, mindful manifesto is the catalyst to tranquil self. Mindful manifesto is the catalyst to tranquil self. Mindful manifesto is the catalyst to tranquil self. So when you like memorize it multiple number of times, like bit by bit the word starts opening up before you. So mindful, conscious, aware, alert, being there, present, manifesto, planning is the catalyst, is the it is the facilitator. Because catalyst, it is speeding up, it is speeding up the reaction to the tranquil self, to a tranquil self, tranquil, peaceful, it leads to a peaceful existence. So mindful manifesto, when consciously any planning is done, it is a facilitator for peaceful existence. Mindful manifesto is a peaceful facilitator for, like, it is a facilitator for peaceful existence. When you keep repeating it yourself, you ask, what is mindfulness? What are the challenges to mindfulness? Why should one be mindful? Like in how many ways can one be mindful? In what situations can I be mindful? like there will be a bombardment of ideas. What is planning? Is planning always done with external sources? Can we do it with other tools? Are there apps also? Time, when we are talking about the component of planning, is it associated or always bound by time? Should time factor always be considered? What are the lacunas or challenges in planning? What are the levels of planning for an individual goal or target, planning for the goal and target of, like, let us say, a country? What are the possibilities of planning when we are speaking of it? How many ways, dimensions of life needs to be planned? Can we plan multiple dimensions, or should we focus to like relatively lesser plans? When we keep asking all this, as the brain is popping up ideas, okay, like a bag of popcorn suddenly like let loose on the heated fire, and various ideas are popping up, just keep noting it down, just keep noting it down. So as we are discussing about this given dimension, okay, you have to get into this possibility of understanding that whenever you are memorizing a topic, the moment you memorize it, suddenly ideas start popping up. The moment the ideas pop up, use a pen and paper to note it down. Any idea that comes to your brain, it should be noted down. It is a super speedy process, so just focus on noting down, not the handwriting, not the spelling, not the grammar, nothing should be like the point B I can write down. There is nothing wrong while brainstorming. And here what I imply is handwriting, language, spellings, grammar, ideas, nothing, nothing wrong while brainstorming. Means get over the fear of failure. This is your area. Okay, get over the fear of failure. Let the mind exercise freedom. Let the mind exercise freedom. So how is it done? Like, as I gave you this given topic, education as it should be. So see, the way a storm comes, and as the storm unfolds itself, everything is thrown in there, like maybe clothes, maybe buckets, soaps, maybe other petty items which are lying around, right? If it is a thatched roof, then even the roof, everything is blown in there. And once the storm settles down, we start picking what is relevant to us. Soap, okay, fine, let me pick. Bucket, it is looking functional still, let me pick it. Clothes, they have become tattered, let me throw. Maybe some other packet of, like, let's say some wrapper, some packet, you just let it be. You clean it up, you clean the mess, you leave it. So please understand, you have the space for organization. If you remember, I had said that organization of an essay. For this, if you remember, yesterday I discussed that for this given part, you have 7 to 10 minutes. So if there is any idea which you find irrelevant, you have the space to dump it. You have the time to dump it. While doing random brainstorming, do not attach any filters. Okay. Do not attach any filters of right and wrong. Let all ideas pour down. Let all ideas pour down. Another thing which I can say is the hand moves at the speed of sound while the mind moves at the speed of light. Hence, focus on capturing the idea, capturing or penning down the idea. So just focus on capturing or penning down the idea. That's the most important thing when we are speaking of this given subsegment. Okay. So, with respect to this, as all the ideas are constantly flashing in your brain, just note it down, just keep it down on the paper. Do not doubt or do not question how is it relevant, why should I note it down. Oh, I mean, this is just as a random idea as it could be, because please understand, your mind is moving at the speed of light. The moment, like, you are again, don't write in an organized fashion. It cuts down the speed. It cuts down the speed. So don't try to write in an organized manner. What I imply to say now, suppose this is the sheet, okay, and the rough sheet that you have got. And let me share this with all of you. You do get a rough sheet in the exam. So without any hesitation, you have to carry forward with like, this brainstorming. Don't think, oh my God, rough work, like it will set a bad example. No, it shows that you are an organized person who go with a like substantial level of planning. So you can ask for multiple rough sheets as well. So that's not a problem. You can always ask for one. Once one is over, you can ask for the second one. So when the moment we are talking about the component of doing this, so the moment, suppose you are seeing this given topic, education as it should be, and you are like, suppose you have started with a lot of subsegments associated with this topic. So you are talking about types of education, you are thinking of like primary, secondary, whatever. Then you are thinking of like the intervention. Suddenly you are thinking of like education, like with respect to children. So what are the teachers doing for them? So random ideas are getting sprayed. Okay, random ideas are getting sprayed in your brain. Keep noting it down. Don't try to make ABCD 1 2 3 4 necessarily. You just can write as haphazard as possible. You can just suppose something has overlapped, no problem, no problem. No one is bothered to check your sheet. Like, let us say if I today give you the assignment of evaluating standard 5 kids or standard 10 kids essay, and they have done rough work, and suppose it's 10 standard 10 kids essay paper, and they have done rough work, and on the rough work, the moment they have written please omit, okay, and after writing this please omit, they have struck it down. You will not be bothered to even check what is written there, because you know that you are paid for the assignment that is written in a formal, fair manner. This is something which you will not even pay attention. This is something which you will ignore. You'll be like, okay, whatever, I don't want to even, like, bother about what the child has written in between the paper, for the simple reason, you have the formal sheet. So like, no one, let me share this with you, no one, none of the examiners are really bothered to keep a check over what rough work you do. That's, I mean, no one is so free and no one is so very bothered about the rough work. So, rough work, you can have the freedom to err in the rough work. Do not try to make sense out of it. Do not try to always be prim and proper about it. Do not bother about the handwriting. Do not bother about the language. If it is like while writing English, you are thinking words of Tamil or Hindi or Telugu or like any other mother tongue, you can do that. Okay. You are remembering some colloquial term, phrasal expression, proverb spoken by your grandmother, grandfather, or like, someone in your neighborhood or someone you can note it down. No problem with respect to that as well. So when we are talking about this random brainstorming, it is a filter free zone. You are just pouring your existence out. You are pouring whatever you know out. Okay. The moment you think, oh my God, I should think of the translation, it will cut down your speed. The moment you question, oh, how relevant is it? Suppose a child feels like, as I was about to start writing this essay, my mother had said that please have your uh, evening snack, and I forgot to take it. Now if I get up, it will break my rhythm. Suppose like that while writing on this topic. So just write down snacks and leave it. You're like, hey, snacks, education as it should be, no problem, just write down snacks, move ahead. Okay. In the similar manner, suppose while writing this content, as you are substantiating the content, suppose an idea just flashes that as I was like crossing the road today, oh my God, the kind of rash driving people are doing these days. And suppose while thinking of this topic, education as it should be, education as it should be, and you're going on and on, you're going ahead with developing the content. All right. So in the process, as you are building the content or developing the content, let us consider that you come across this given possibility that you think of a topic which you can see superfluously is not connected. Like, let's say, if I speak of this given dimension, so road rage. Okay, road rage or some kind of fight which you saw, no problem, just note down the keyword, move ahead. Go ahead with the possibility of analyzing the importance of that content later. If your brain is throwing, it should be on the paper, because random brainstorming does not happen for a prolonged time period. Please remember, it is a short lived phase. Okay, it is a speeding I mean, because it is short lived, it is a short lived phase. It does not occur for a prolonged time period. It is a short lived phase. So it can happen for like a beginner, it can be for a minute and a half, 2 minutes. For a seasoned candidate, it can be 4.5 minutes. Okay. So because it's not a very prolonged time period, you should just focus on the possibility of pouring your heart down on the paper. And please understand, your mind is on the fifth point and your hand is noting down the second point. That's why I wrote that your hand is moving at the speed of sound while the brain is moving at the speed of light. They both cannot match. So do not attach any filter. Do not attach any filter. That's the logic. Because if you're attaching any filter, your speed will get cut down. All that you should focus on is whatever I'm learning, it should be on paper. Whatever I'm recalling, it should be on paper. Whatever I'm able to think, as random, as wild an idea as possible, it should be on paper. Just put it on paper. Okay. When we are speaking of it, we should not even make headings on the aspect, not right now, Abhijit. Random brainstorming, nothing. In B, there is or there should. There is nothing wrong while brainstorming. And this is what I have written. And I have written it consciously. There is nothing wrong while brainstorming. It's written like a universal sentence. Okay, sun rises in the east. It's a universal sentence. You cannot say there sun should rise in the east. No, there is what you follow when you talk about a universal sentence. Got it? That's a standard pattern of, we can say, using grammar. Anyway, so when we are speaking of this given dimension, you have to go as random as possible in the first go, because random brainstorming is like in your subconscious, all the ideas that are lying, it will just be thrown. Okay, it will be just surfacing up. In the exam copy, we can brainstorm anywhere, irrespective of beginning or last. Shubham, please attend the or join the class in time. All those students who have joined the session late, I have informed this, that rough sheets are provided in the exam. So you cannot start randomly doing, or Sahil, as you are asking, rough sheet provided in the exam. Before starting this topic, random brainstorming, I said this, that examiner provides rough sheet to all of you. Everyone gets a rough sheet. The moment you ask, it is provided. You don't ask, it's not provided. As simple as that. So you can ask for a rough sheet and you can do this. That's why I've written rough. So the moment you write on a loose sheet rough or rough work, and you start off doing your whatever random stuff you have to note down, this is how you arrive at the given idea. All right, when we are discussing about it. So this is also helpful in the case of answer writing. Yes, for a beginner student, this method can be helpful for the will I won't be disqualified for writing on question paper. Why will you write on question paper, Sahil, when a rough sheet will be provided? Is he connected? Is he able to listen to me? Now that's the question that I'm feeling, because I'm saying the same thing, and like a very SME said, no, no, no. You are provided with a rough sheet. You can ask for a rough sheet, okay? Then you can just write. I mean, because in question paper, it can be like objected. It is objectionable to write on the question paper. Many a times the examiner, I mean, it's a strict like instruction that do not try to write things on the question paper. You're taking the question paper back home. Still, that instruction once in a while is like given, but still students do write. They do underline. They do write few 2 or 3 keywords. That does happen on the question paper. But you have a rough sheet to do all this work. So don't need to worry about that. Uh, Rough sheet for every subject? No, Sneha. Rough sheet, I'm talking about this area. If you want to do rough work for any other GS paper, I mean, maybe you do it somewhere and you just cancel it out. Rough is actually, you won't be able to use the rough also. Any one of you who's actually seasoned in preparation will understand that in GS you don't get the uh, time to even catch a breath. So how can you first do the rough and then write the fair answer? All this luxury is there only when, as a beginner student, you are given a warm-up exercise that write 10 answers in 2 hours. Okay, then a student is like, okay, first I'll do the rough, write down the key point, then I'll elaborate. But in the exam, you will get like 20 questions and you'll get 3 hours. So there is a pressing situation of time. You don't get the luxury of like first doing the rough of the GS answers and then substantiating. In essay, you have the luxury. For the simple reason, you don't have to write 4,000 words in like 3 hours. You have to write 2,400 words, that too on a max side. To be specific, 2,200 words, 1,100 words each essay. So you have to write almost half. Okay, 2,200 words you have to write, and that too in like 3 hours. So you have the luxury and the space to do all the rough work, and that's why it is being trained. That's why it is a part of your lecture, and that's why idea generation subcomponent, which I'm discussing from the perspective of brainstorming and brain mapping, incorporates these pieces of advice. Okay, how to use rough notes? Oh my goodness. How to use rough notes? You can use the rough notes in brain mapping to recall whatever rough notes you have made, whether it is relevant to the topic or not. Now, with respect to the rough sheet that we are talking for the essay, first you pour in all the idea. Later, when I'll be talking about organizing the essay, you will understand how to frame it, how to streamline it, how to put it like in a organized fashion. Because many a time students will just go on writing things. They'll think few segments and they'll start writing. While writing, they'll realize, oh, this point should have been written there. Or if this point was written little later, it would have looked better. All this is a mark of poor level of organization. Just recalling the content is not important. Organizing it is even more important. But that's a next assignment. Okay. So Gadam, you have to be present on all days at all times. This was something which I had discussed yesterday, that organizing the essay has 7 to 10 minutes. So kuch kaam uske liye bhi chhod dete. We need to do something then also, right? Okay. Now, so with respect to this, like when we are talking about this given subsegment related to like rough notes, what we are going to do, it should be necessary to think of recalling as quick as possible. Yes, the entire focus should be on recalling. Entire focus should be on recalling. Whatever your brain pours out, just write it down. That's why I have written this. Organizing of an essay has 7 to 10 minutes. You have the intellectual liberty to think whether the point is relevant or irrelevant later. It's not necessary for you to think while you are substantiating the component. Okay, so you don't need to have like the pressure of organizing the content at all times. Okay, you have to be free, intellectually free. So don't be under the pressure to don't be under the pressure to write in an organized fashion. It cuts down the speed, because the moment you're writing A, B, C, D and you're thinking of the ideas, this is cutting down the speed of thinking. This is not needed. Or you're doing like this, not needed. You just write down, you're like doing this. If you're in a tremendous habit of doing it, you can do it. But if you can manage without this, you don't want to do like this, just focus on writing the keyword, whatever. Up, down, topsy turvy, everything is acceptable, but just focus on putting everything on the paper. Okay, like let us do it, and then let us understand this given segment associated with an application. Let us put it to application. Okay, so whatever I'm discussing with you right now, this random brainstorming, so let us talk about it. Brain mapping, I'll do it little later, or maybe let's do it in a fresh pace, like a page. So here, um, let me bring this to all of you. Think about this topic, education as it should be. Any random idea that's coming to your mind, quickly type it. Just type it. Any random idea that comes to your mind. Education as it should be. All right. So, literacy, policy, Three Idiots, rural education, quantity, Arjuna, holistic, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. Okay, all right. Application and awareness, curriculum, Krishna, and then education to poorest people, learning based, meaning, enrollment. Okay, new national education policy, ancient methods of teaching, inclusive, power. Okay, types, Japan, West, skill oriented, stakeholder, teacher, midday, new, like this inclusive, Gandhi ji. Okay, employment, benefits. Can you see that, how you all are thinking? I said just think in keywords, whatever flashes in your mind. So you're not trying to think in sentences, just the point. Brain has started spraying. You can see that it's just happening. Every time the brain will spray, sometimes organized ideas will come, sometimes correct ideas will come, sometimes relevant ideas will come, sometimes irrelevant ideas will come. So suppose, as all of you are discussing about this given subsegment, and let me just put it in context. So education as it should be. So some people were recalling Eklavya, as I can see, and someone has been suggesting Krishna, someone has suggested Gandhi. Okay, so I'm just writing as bad handwriting as possible, because I told you that it has to be a super speedy process. Like new national education policy, you're talking about Shanti Niketan. After Shanti Niketan, you are thinking of training, visual training. Okay, so training, someone is talking about visual training. Then someone thought of, like, and you can see that, like Savitri Bai Phule. So someone is thinking Nalanda, someone is thinking of Aristotle and Plato and Socrates. So Aristotle, Plato, Socrates. Now you can see I'm not bothering, like just keywords, like hinting words. Okay, meditation, like Greek. Then someone is thinking of practical, someone is thinking of let's say Dronacharya, someone is thinking of sex education, someone is thinking of Raja Ram Mohan Roy, someone is again talking about ancient methods and DAV school practical learning, right? So you could have written like this, like this, like this, like this. I have a pattern of going in my own fashion. Okay, so that's the pattern that I like followed while like putting all this in context over here. So as all of you are like coming up with various types of ideas, girl education, Ishwar Chand Vidyasagar. So Ishwar Chand Vidyasagar, girl education, free, compulsory. Okay, you're talking about moral education, rural, mother tongue, vernacular. So okay, fine. So like random spray of ideas. This is random. You're not trying to enlist points, you're just going on and on and on. Whatever your brain is throwing, you're just spraying it. Now, let me show the relevance of this sentence. When I say that there is nothing wrong, this given statement, there is nothing wrong while brainstorming. Handwriting, you can understand. Spellings, you can understand. Language, you can understand. English, Hindi, any language that comes. Grammar, yes, you can understand. Ideas. What is this component related to ideas? Let me share this with you. So, suppose while doing this component of random brainstorming, as I was discussing this idea, so like let's say you thought of the example of snacks, road rage, how this could have been incorporated. Like all of you are speaking of so many amazing ideas, electronic media and British college and technology driven third gender is benefiting, and Vedic and new education, and you're talking about the possibility of article 21 and BR Ambedkar, so much online and all that. But like the moment you allow your brain to incorporate anything random, suppose in the process of thinking about this topic, you're thinking, suddenly you are able to think of some teacher who had a damaging impact, okay, damaging impact on students during school days or college days, okay. So maybe the teacher was kind of a semi molester, or was kind of a, we can say, a bully, a person who was into physical violence or sexual violence, anything of that sort. So suppose the moment you are thinking of such a teacher, you are filled with rage, you are filled with anger or hatred, and you recall all the cuss words students used to speak in the college times or school times. So at that time, I mean, people keep some, we can say, names also. I remember in my school days, there was a teacher in standard 8th, ninth. He had the habit of, rubbing the hand on the back of young teenage girls, okay, on the back of teenage girls, and it was very uncomfortable. And he used to choose the victim. The girl used to be very timid, shy, soft spoken, and he used to come for chemistry class, and he used to have this habit of like saying, like he had a nasal intonation, so he used to say, good morning class, and today we are going to do this chapter and whatever. And whenever they used to give some exercise, people used to do, and anyone getting stuck up, and then if it was a girl, he used to go next to her and just rub her back and say, oh my god, why is it so tough for you? It is so easy. And then he used to explain it. But everyone used to see that. Yes, so very true, Sahil. CRPC 353, 354, you're thinking, well, 354 stalking. 353, I can consider. All right. So we used to call during our times, we used to call him Murgi. Okay. So, and we did not keep the name. I mean, if that was possible, then I would have acknowledged that, but we did not. Our senior, okay, Renchu, we used to say to our class teacher, all right. So, like we can consider this, that what happened was that the not our batch, some super senior batch, means we don't even know like who kept the name, but even standard 12th seniors used to call him Murgi. And it was like we standard 8th kids also used to call him Murgi, and someone had kept the name Murgi. So everyone used to call him Murgi. Okay. So that's how people used to consider that, oh, Murgi did this, or Murgi is like that, or Murgi is coming, or oh, just hide in the corridor, Murgi is there, something like that. Okay. Now, suppose while thinking about this given topic, okay, so okay, all right, yes, that is possible, and mm, that is possible, Sneha and Gayu. Okay, so apply it for IS exam. Yes, we can apply it for IS exam also. So what happens is, like, let us say I am doing brainstorming and I've just written Murgi. I've just written Mummy said snacks. While thinking of all other new education policy, I'm thinking of road rage, fight. Anything is coming, I'm just writing. So a lot of relevant ideas will also pour in and make it in the content, and a lot of irrelevant ideas will also start pouring in. I am not attaching any filter. I'm letting everything be. I'm letting everything exist. Later on, when I am organizing the content, in the process of organizing, I can ask myself, how relevant is it? So suppose this point of Murgi, which I thought, okay, And I'm just considering this given possibility, that how to incorporate the content which makes sense, which is relevant. So this is how it could have worked out. Gender sensitization and sexual education or sex education with proper training is not only necessary for the young boys and girls, especially stepping into the high school, but also the teachers, so that they learn how to socialize and interact with the children who are stepping into this sensitive stage of adolescence. So, suppose when I thought of this given person, like maybe during childhood, the kind of cuss words, jeers, like, sarcastic remarks we used to pass, suddenly a flash of ideas came. But I just wrote Murgi. And just by hinting that point, I could formalize it into the topic education as it should be. Okay? Education as it should be. So, if I would have left it, I was like, oh my God, how can I write slangs? How can I write this? Who is going to write the informal language for UPSC exam? Gayu, are you understanding that? Because as you asked, ma'am, can we also apply this in IS exam? So I'm just sharing this. I hope you are understanding that, right? All of you have had your own fair share of such miscreant people, who have been such teachers. I can read so many remarks, but I hope all of you are able to understand that when and I'm not Sir Yuvika, I'm a ma'am, so I'll prefer not the, yes, the gender to be explored. So I understand there must be a typo error, that's perfectly fine. Okay, like typo errors can happen to anyone, but I hope all of you are able to understand this. So the moment the idea pops in, just make it land on the paper. While random brainstorming, just do it. Do not attach any filters. It's right. Oh, it's wrong. It's relevant. It's irrelevant. No, do not attach that. Just let it happen. All right. That's fine. That's perfectly fine, Yuvika. So, suppose you come across, can we use negative statements in essay? Negative statements, if they have positive solutions, then definitely, Rashmi. Because if you don't talk about challenges and problems prevailing in a system, in a society, how will you go for reforming them? How will you go for changing and improving upon them? Yeah. Again, similarly, suppose this snacks, evening snacks or something like that you have written. You could have thought it education as it should be. You could have thought of it in this manner, that children should not only be educated with respect to the mental growth pertaining to different subjects, but also the physical growth pertaining to the nutrition that they consume and the impact it has on the body. Full stop. India, which has become the diabetic capital of the world, and lifestyle diseases are ever increasing, comma, we need to start education, or we can say nutritional education, from a very young age. Full stop. The children need to be educated not only in terms of different subjects, but also the importance of exercising and eating right at all times, especially in the wake of globalization and different types of unhealthy snacking culture. Are you understanding that? This would have been a very out of box point, right? So, all the points related to national education policy, various types of reforms, curriculum change, sports education, so much that you would have written. This, it would have had a creative impact, out of box impact, right? Similarly, road rage, road fight, suppose you have thought of this and you want to fit it in the content, you can always say that when the citizens of a country are not merely literate but are educated, we can see that they can manage their anger and learn how to handle the pressures of, we can say, the pressures of various small or big accidents happening on the street, and how never to leave civility and support the other human being in this, in times of physical or mental distress, comma, also comes with real meaning or real unfolding of education, right? So I hope all of you are understanding this. Yes, yes, midday meal and all that is also there, Aditi. I mean, those are implicit aspects which I think 99% of students will write. Okay. So when you are thinking of midday meal, when you are thinking of the possibility of incorporating different other kinds of interventions, yes, all that is inevitable. That everyone will think. What I want to say, here we are not validating points. Here we are not playing point, which point is valid, which is invalid. Here we are discussing what is the relevance or importance of random brainstorming. How random brainstorming can throw some irrelevant points. But it's okay, note it down. Don't ask yourself, oh, it is irrelevant, why should I note down? Your snacks, why should I write down snacks? Why should I write down murgi? Why should I write down road rage? If I question, I attach a filter. I attach a filter, I cut down my speed. I cut down my speed, brainstorming starts stopping down, hauling down, right? So don't let it get halted. Let things unfold in your brain systematically and simultaneously. Okay. So here we are discussing about the possibility of relevance. Yes, all current affairs, everything can be poured in Santosh. If it is relevant to the topic, it is making it. Yes, we can use anecdotes. We'll be talking about anecdotes as we are discussing about types of introduction, Jatin. Okay, so that's there. That's a segment, a full-fledged segment that is devoted to essay in the component of like I'll be discussing it in the component of types of introduction, but it's not only in introduction, it can be like incorporated even in between. Okay, so when we are discussing about this in the component of idea generation, when we are discussing about random brainstorming, I hope you are understanding the relevance of this given word. There is nothing wrong while brainstorming. Okay, any grammatical error, you can rectify it later. Any idea which is falling haywire, you can always choose it later. Whether it is relevant to the topic, can I formalize it? Can I structure it better and write down or not? Any other different language you are thinking it in, no problem. Write it in different language. Later you can translate. If you are struggling with the quotient of language, no problem. First, let the ideas flow freely and speedily. So speedy, random, so it has to be free. Okay, no pressure of organizing it, putting it in bullets, no filters, no filters. Just focus on the speed. Speed is something that should always be prioritized. That whatever my brain is throwing, I just have to note it down. All right, so I hope all of you are understanding this. Okay, so far everything is good. Yes, shall we move ahead? So, random brainstorming, once you have done it for 2-3 minutes, you will realize that your brain starts like pausing down. After a short while, your brain will not be at the speediest mode, it will start pausing down. You will see that the way it is thinking, the way it is reflecting and recalling the points, it is no more that speedy. The moment that starts happening, what you shall be doing, then go ahead with star bursting. What is star bursting? Ask yourself, who is this topic related to? So the moment you think of who is this topic related to, the education as it should be, who is it related to? Primarily children. Other than children, any group, any community that you can think of, you're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Even children who are pushed into beggary, children who are transgender children, disabled children, all of them should be protected. Children belonging to remote areas, minority communities, they should be protected. Rural areas, they should be protected. Then you're like, it should not only be associated with children. How about lifelong learning? How about adult education? How about old people attaining education? I remember my grandma, she throughout her life she was managing a lot of things. She was into constantly traveling and handling a lot of things at home. She was a very brave lady, I must say. And she was very much ahead of her times when it comes to managing things and handling things. Anyway, so this lady, when she was around in her like late 50s or early 60s, because I was a teeny tiny kid, one day she decided, I'll learn how to read newspapers and magazines. Why am I sitting like this? So she was the one who used to go to, like, like we were always staying in an urban area because my grandfather was an officer. So she was the one who used to travel to, like, the rural area, the rural hinterland, which was something like 10, 12 hours of train journey. She used to go there because grandpa was posted quite distant from the land that he possessed. He what his great grandparents possessed. So she used to go, give the land on sharecropping, then sell off whatever was procured, give to people who are in need, like poor people whose daughters are getting married, this and that. She used to manage a lot. Then come back to the city, that is our place, traveling all the way 12 hours, 13 hours in train, manage the food grains, manage everything, take care of a lot of plants, saplings. We had something around 300 or 400, like, pots of different types of saplings and flowers and whatnot. So it was a very nice little pond that I had in my house. And there were areca nut trees, there were mango trees, there were like guava trees. It was a very green patch, a little patch which was very green, and the house used to look very pleasant. And thank God my childhood was so green. I really pity my cousins who have grown up in the same house like a decade or a decade and a half later. Because as grandma aged, trees were cut down, entire area was converted into a parking lot. So entire green space was gone. And as she was ebbing in her age, she could not take care of so much of greenery, but she was the woman who actually added so much of beauty to that house, which I realized as I aged, as I grew up. I was like, wow, that was something meaningful that she was nurturing in that household. And like, we were never in good terms when she was alive. We were never in good terms because she was hardcore patriarchal. But now I realize that with maturity, that she also is not to be blamed, because she was conditioned and she lived in that atmosphere for more than 6 decades to begin with. By the time she got introduced to me and she started, like, getting attached to me, she was already seasoned with patriarchy. So a woman, 5 decades of her life, she has seen like a patriarchy unfold. And then she's seeing a granddaughter. So, like, we had moments of attachment, moments of sharing, but there were moments of disagreement and strong disagreement. So I was very, very attached to my grandfather. Why am I sharing about her? Because of this reason, that the moment I think of education as it should be, and I think of her, I remember that in her early 60s or maybe late 50s, she took up to pen and paper and she started learning basic alphabets, Hindi. Okay, and English. English, she caught up with the alphabets, but she could never catch up with the grammar. But in Hindi, she not only caught up with the alphabets, but she learned how to frame sentences. Spoken Hindi and spoken grammar she knew, so it was easier for her to frame sentences. And by the time I was a teenager, she was, like, reading newspapers every single day, 1 hour she was reading newspaper. And she used to be like very thrilled about it, that, oh, I can do this. Okay, now I no more need to, like, go to the bank and just put a thumb or something like that. I sign, and not only signature, I can read and understand how much money is there and how much I withdrew and all that. Okay, just sharing this. So aged people getting literacy. Again, when I was doing my post graduation in Delhi University, just next to our hostel earlier, the old vice chancellor's bungalow was converted as a Gandhi ashram. And in that, senior citizens were educated for free. And students could volunteer to, like, teach them basic alphabets, basic things. And I was reminded of my grandma. And I went there to, like, help the seniors and also learn few things from them, because you always end up learning from seniors. So I had volunteered briefly for that exercise as well. In different universities across India as well as across world, there are institutions of lifelong learning. So the moment we are discussing about this idea, the who can expand, and it can expand in all parameters, not necessarily only children. Okay, you can think of children, yes, from all regions, backgrounds, possibilities, challenges. Okay, but also beyond children, we can think of adults, people. Like, I remember my sister when she was, like, my cousin, as in my first cousin. So, as she was pursuing her post graduation from London School of Economics, she had a batchmate, a classmate. This man, he had worked in his 30s, he had gone for a lot of saving, and after doing his saving, then he enrolled for a PhD program, and he was pursuing his PhD while she was doing her postgrad. So certain specific lectures of some very senior professors that were taken during the postgrad, like he used to request the professors and they used to allow him in. So he used to attend those special sessions as well, because the topic on which he was doing the PhD was similar to the topics these children were being taught in masters. So the reference work and after class discussing it with the professor. So she was like, wow, this is so inspiring, that because he could not afford higher education, so he did his masters, he started working, worked for almost like a decade and a half, went for savings, like created some cushion and comfort in his life, and then went for full throttle for education for 5 more years. That okay, I'll invest at least 3 to 5 years for my doctorate, and once I do my PhD, then I'll look for other avenues in life. So life doesn't stop. A person can get educated at any given point of time. There is nothing like drawing a line. Again, another example, when we are talking about this, there was this IS officer who is there, posted in Punjab, okay, Yogi Raj. So this person also, like in 2009, to one of my cousins, he just came and he shared his journey. He was basically he lost his parents at a very young age, became an orphan, was staying with his relatives. Before becoming an orphan, a mishap had occurred in his life, that he like got caught in a fire in the village, and because of which his entire face got charred, the skin got, like, all the like damaged, folded, his face like really like the skin really turned like all wrinkled up. So what happened was that the children in the school started teasing him as as a monster, and that was very disrespectful for him. So what happened was, wow, that's so amazing, XY, whoever you are, that your nani ji got her PhD at the age of 80. Imagine, so beautiful. This is what I'm talking about it. Yes, this Vayojana Vidyabhyasa Padhati. Femina, thank you for sharing that this scheme is existing in Kerala. We have such initiatives in various universities also, central universities also. Now, and Kerala anyway has a lot of, I would say, amazing schemes and meaningful interventions for all sections of society, so that is always appreciable. Now, so when we are discussing about it, I was sharing about Yogi Raj. So what happened with Yogi Raj was that this boy, he after his standard 8th, he discontinued his education because he was being teased as a monster, as a demon, because of the, the scalded skin and the wrinkled skin that he developed after the incident whereby he was trapped in fire, and somehow he was saved. Later, his mother also died. Earlier, his father had died. Later, his mother also died. And this boy, he was reduced to penury. So, and new words, whenever you hear from me, keep noting it down and keep searching for it in the dictionary. Like penury, I said Penury. So, learn what is the meaning. Try to put it to use when you are like practicing essay or in general in your life. So what happened was that this boy, he started struggling as a MGREGS labor, picking sacks of, I would say, grains and wheat and all that. He used to load it, unload it, like too much of hard work. Then he became a lineman. And as he became a lineman, he realized I should not discontinue with my education. So he enrolled to open learning. He first gave his standard 10th, then 12th. By the time he was 24 years age, he enrolled for his graduation. So if I ask you that a boy is 24 years age, the person is going to do BA, what future do you see for him? Maybe you'll see maybe some job, some odd job this person can do, or maybe this person can sit for SSC CGL, get into some clerical job or grade B jobs. That's what you can maximum think. But then this boy, by the time he completed his graduation, 27 years of age, he realized that why not prepare for civil services? Because he came to know about civil services, state commission, central commission, and then he realized why not prepare for it thoroughly? Why not, the basic elementary level that we need is this, the we can say, the elementary level of educational qualification that we need is graduation. So how about I preparing for it? And it is then that he, like, met my cousin, started preparing for this exam, kept appearing for mains after mains after mains. And he was an SC candidate, so thankfully he got more opportunities. So at the age of 34, he became a proper IAS officer. Today, the Punjab University, not university, sorry, the Punjab state government in their standard 8th textbook have a chapter on this boy, Yogi Raj. Okay. So this is like, the possibility of education. When we speak of the possibility, who can attain education? Anyone can attain education at any age. There is no bracket attached to, oh, by 21 complete your graduation, or 22 complete your graduation, by 25 get settled, get, like, into a job, by 28, 30 get married, by 30, 32 have a child at least. Okay, these are standards set by society. There are no such boxes actually existing in life. Otherwise, if we would have considered these boxes as a mark of success, then Vivekanand was neither married, nor had a job, nor had kids. He won't have been considered a success. Mahatma Gandhi left his practice. Jawaharlal Nehru left his practice. Right? If we talk about present times, there are a lot of people who switch their career, they get into philanthropic activities, or they like quit upon their jobs, they get into their passion. So many people doing so much. One of my seniors, she was a professor in Delhi University of sociology department, and she quit that to become a full-time dancer and to dance across the world, Bharatnatyam, and introduce it to the world. So we can understand the very possibility when we talk about the idea of who can attain education. Anyone can attain education at any given point of time. All you need is the right motivation to do that. Okay. Um, All right, Sneha. That's quite inspiring, and I just wish you the best. Okay. Wish you the best that you attain success in your journey and you stay motivated at all times. So, when we are, okay, wow, Nirmala, you did your graduation at the age of 19. That's amazing. So, wow, you are in first year and you are preparing for civil services. That's amazing. So, when we are speaking of this given subsegment, when we are reflecting upon this given subsegment, I hope all of you are getting motivated by this possibility of the component of who, right? In the similar manner, when you are doing star bursting, means who, what, where, why, when, you don't need to remember the word star bursting per se. You just need to remember this. You have to ask, what is the topic related to, what is the phenomena, what are the tools, what are the equipments, what are the resources that are needed for this given topic. Okay, where, which place or which location is it associated with? Can we discuss this topic with respect to multiple locations, multiple areas, multiple zones, multiple regions? When the topic, as the topic is given, like education as it should be, is it giving me the freedom to talk about history? Because a lot of you gave the dimension of ancient. Ma'am, we'll talk about Gurukul education. Ma'am, we'll talk about ancient time period. Is it needed? Is it needed as per the question? Education as it should be. Yesterday only I told you, be very thorough with the topic. It will bring in the relevance. So later on, after like writing in your random brainstorming, I'll discuss ancient. When you are doing organization of the essay, you can see, oh, ancient is not really needed. That's not the priority of the topic. If I have to bring in the insights of ancient or medieval, I just have to think that how is it relevant in present times and what better opportunities it can create for future. If I'm discussing at length and breadth about ancient time period and the good quality education and all that stuff, and if I'm talking about it at length and breadth, it is not qualifying for education as it should be. It's an irrelevant discussion, so marks will be deducted. So that ticker is on. When you are really thorough with the topic, you can always analyze what's relevant, what needs to be left. Okay. So I hope all of you are able to understand this, right? So yes, Shanti Niketan should be again. Shanti Niketan spoke of, we can say, rural education. So can the Shanti Niketan model be reformed, revised, or can it be implemented in other parts of India in the present times? because Shanti Niketan was focusing on social cultural education. That's why you see Rabindra Sangeet became so popular in entire eastern part. Like majority of the households in eastern part, they know either some form of dance or like singing or the interpretation of Rabindra Sangeet, and such in-depth interpretations are available. So in the absence of aesthetics, a person cannot develop emotional quotient. Emotional quotient does get nourished by aesthetics. And in aesthetics, there is a definite role of getting exposed to good quality literature, music, drama, songs, dance, right? So, is the Shanti Niketan, we can say, school of learning, an important methodology to be put in our present day practices? Hmm? Why is the topic relevant? Okay, after dealing with this, then think about figure storming. What is figure storming? How someone else might handle the same topic, how someone else might reflect upon the same topic, means education as it should be. How would APJ Abdul Kalam sir speak about it if this question was raised to him? Education as it should be. How Jawaharlal Nehru would have spoken about it, how Gandhiji would have spoken about it, how, like, we can say Martin Luther King spoke of it, how Maya Angelou spoke of it, any person whom you know, okay, how Socrates had spoken of it. So, how someone else might think about the topic. It's not necessary that you're only thinking of popular thinkers, or we can say established, like we can say intellectuals. It can also be associated with, like, the topic associated with regular people, like how my staff would think of how education ought to be. If I ask her that how would you want education system to be, so education as it should be, how would my staff respond to it? Other than my staff, if the same question is raised, like let us say to my mother, who has raised two children, that is I and my brother, and she has had her own fair share of seeing how we were getting educated at different levels, phases, how would she respond to it? What is my father's opinion regarding education as it should be? What is my brother's opinion regarding education as it should be? Okay, so we can also reflect it from the perspective of other people, what they are suggesting, or what solutions they have in their perception and mind, that will also add another realm, another dimension, another beauty to the topic. Is that getting clear to all of you? Yes. Is it okay if we write about how education has evolved? Yes, you can talk about it, Akshaya, but you have to also think about the possibility that education as it should be should not be lost, because the moment you are talking about how it has evolved, the focus is more on history, like how, what stages it has cost, whereas the question is education as it should be. So the maybe you can validate it or justify it that in every stage, whatever uh, breakthroughs we were attaining for education, how those breakthroughs, whether they are existing today or not, and if they are not existing, how we can revive it, how we can relive it. Never ever forget the aspiration of the question, because if you write what you know and not what is asked, the gap can be tremendous. Every now and then I see that happening in GS as well. Okay, so that is something which is something which can backfire. So do not write what you know, write what should be written. So Hulam, you were asking about what sources should be consulted for topics like violence against women and something like that, right? Which book is best to understand society, violence against women, caste discrimination? Well, um, there is this Ram Ahuja's book, Society in India. It will give a basic prelude, a basic understanding associated with society. You can read that book, that's good. One. Second, you need to update these topics, especially associated with violence against women or caste discrimination. Violence against women, Ranjana Kumari is a very noted, I would say, social activist related to violence against women. Her articles have been consolidated in the past in Yojana magazine also, 2016, September or October magazine. has a detailed article and reflection of Ranjana Kumari associated with violence against women. Okay, so you can consolidate insights from there as well. You see, patterns of violence, I mean, examples change, but patterns of violence remain the same. Reasons responsible for violence remains the same. That's the saddest part. Okay, so you can reflect it from that perspective as well. So yes, you can think of environmental education and all the points that all of you are suggesting. So that is 12th NCRT sociology, ma'am. Yeah, you can consult 12th NCRT um, books also. There are four books in 11th and 12th standard, two for each level. 11th standard, one book is good. Second book is related to Indian thinkers. You don't need to touch that. But one book, Understanding Society, you have to just leave one of the chapters. So if you know the syllabus, because syllabus is the first prerequisite, so you can just tally it and prepare it. Okay. And standard 12th, both the books of NCRT are good, decent enough to introduce. But if you are going into a bit of detail, no, they will not be providing the detail. They'll just give you a basic prelude or an overview associated with what the society is all about. Do challenges, issues follow general introduction of the topic? No, they are not the introduction of the topic. That is something which we'll be talking when we are discussing brain mapping. So far, I have just been discussing brainstorming. Which book is the best to understand? Gulam, didn't I discuss right now? Just right now, which I said. So I said that you can read Ramahuja. For a basic background, Ramahuja, Society in India. Society in India. It's a basic book. If you are reading this, then NCRT is not needed. Read either of it. Okay. So Ramahuja, Society in India, you'll get a basic preview related to all the core topics which are there in the syllabus in paper one. Okay. So caste, as you are asking, or all this. Okay. So that's there. Again, but violence against women will need constant updation. You'll find some very thought-provoking articles which have been posted recently. Okay, so just do this violence against women, search it, and you'll find some thought-provoking articles. Read that. You can save the content. Another source which also I can suggest is sociology students in their paper 2 last chapter, that is social transformation, there is this topic of violence against women. You can borrow their notes also, but cut down the thinker's name and their research. So the moment you cut down the thinker's name and the research, you will be left with data's facts related to intensity of violence. You will be left with types of violence, suggestions to eliminate violence, steps taken by the government to eliminate violence. So this is the GS part which you can extract from there, and that's the smartness that you have. Similarly, caste system, sociology students will be reading. Don't read thinkers and all that stuff, whatever is there, because thinkers will never be asked in GS. But they do discuss about untouchability. Okay, forms of we can say forms and perspectives of untouchability. There are segments associated with caste system, its present day relevance. Is caste a social reality or is it a political reality? All these debates and dialogues are there. Okay, so you can extract the material, cut down the thinkers part, and just read the, like I would say, the skimmed part. The just read the skimmed part. Leave the thinkers, the name of the thinkers, what the thinkers are saying. Not relevant for GS. So that's another shortcut method of preparing the topic more thoroughly, by not like venturing out too heavily with respect to other sources. No, I don't take PubAd optional, Abhijit. I take sociology optional. That's why I'm able to respond to all his questions in a more thorough manner. Okay, now and because these topics are also there once in a while asked in essay, so and as it has been suggested to all of you that be more thorough with these topics, yes, the sensitivity related to these topics are essential for building the content for essay as well. So this technique will start yielding fruits after doing it again and again. So very true. That's very, very true. Now we are going to deal with brain mapping. Okay. So brain mapping, as we are going to deal with this given dimension. So with respect to this, what is my experience in this field? Which field, Santosh? Because this is again a very open-ended word, right? So when we are talking about this component of brain mapping, there is a diagram that I'm going to draw for all of you. Okay. So before this diagram, two sentences that I can write down. The spherical expansion of a topic creates an essay. Another sentence that I can propose is the shortest possible summary, the shortest possible summary of an essay is its topic. 14 years, Santosh. In UPSC world, 14 years of teaching. This is the 15th year. 15th year would start running from this year, October. That's what is my teaching experience. Now, so when we are speaking of this given dimension, the shortest possible summary of an essay is its topic. What does it imply? Means if, like, let us say someone hides the topic, okay, and after hiding the topic, like let's say of any given student, like let's say a standard 10th child has written an essay, and if I hide the topic and I ask you that after reading 5 pages or 7 pages of the essay that the student has written, can you guess the tentative title or topic of the essay? And the tentative title or topic that you guess, if it is almost similar to the topic given to the student, then the student has justified the content. Then the student has written the content in line with the topic. The child has not meandered. The child has not gone haywire. The child has not got distracted. The child has been like following the, we can say, the topic, sticking close to the topic, keeping close to the topic. Remember, we were discussing about this keeping close to the topic yesterday in UPSC syllabus. Yeah. So when we are discussing about it, if you want, I can probably show this to you. See this. It's written. It is expected that you'll be keeping closely to the subject, keeping close to the topic. And that's why we can understand this specific instruction. This instruction that the shortest possible summary of an essay is its topic. That's the shortest possible summary. You need to understand that, right? Then comes the second subpart, that is the spherical expansion of a topic. Spherical expansion, 360-degree expansion. Here is the topic. If I do a 360-degree expansion of the topic, what will get created will be an essay. So topic is at the epicenter of the essay. So whatever I create should be in and around the topic. It should not be haywire. So in brainstorming, whatever is coming, I'm just putting it on the paper. It is later while organizing, I will see whether the content which I'm thinking is relevant to the topic or not. If it is relevant, close to the topic, I'll write. If it is not, I'll skip, I'll leave it. Because the spherical expansion of the topic creates the essay. We need to understand that. Okay? Now, so how to do brain mapping? Let us understand that. So for brain mapping, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a exhaustive sheet, like it will be something like this is what you will see. Okay, so I'm going to make an exhaustive diagram associated with the all the points that should pour on the paper. Okay, so pay attention to this and memorize this diagram. There's no shortcut to this diagram. So it's all about the topic. I'm putting it in center so that we are able to justify this. The spherical expansion of a topic creates an essay. So how to do the spherical expansion? Via brain mapping. We are going to learn that. So all about the topic. Here we can think of first and foremost times. So how can we connect the topic with respect to times? So past, present, and future. Then we can connect it with levels. With respect to levels, we can think of, let's say, individual. How is the topic associated with individual level? How is the topic associated with family level? How is the topic associated with regional level? How is the topic associated with nation state level? Nation state means country. Okay. How is the topic? Maybe I skipped a beat. So, how is the topic associated with an organizational level? So, organization or an institution. How is the topic associated with, we can say, the world? Can the topic be associated with now? Can it be associated with the universe, the science and technology, any such topic? Plus, plus, endless possibility. Again, we can also think of levels. So, after levels, we can think of sections of society. Under the component of sections of society, we all can reflect upon the segment pertaining to age. Under the segment of age, we can reflect how will the topic affect a child? How will the topic affect, like, let us consider, um, how will it affect an adolescent? How will the topic affect an adult? How will the topic affect an old age population? Old age can also be associated with the word geriatric. Anyone not understanding it shall memorize it. Geriatric, okay, related to old age. We can also connect it with caste, the dynamics of caste. We can connect it with dynamics of religion. We can connect it with the dynamics of region. When I say region, urban and rural. Under urban, we can talk about industrial society and also connect it with post industrial society, right? Again, we can reflect upon it from the perspective of, we can consider after region, we can also connect it with the dimension of disabled population, gender, ethnicity. When I speak of gender, we can connect it with males, female, LGBTQ. Under the component of ethnicity, we can think of linguistic groups. So, linguistic groups, which are like, ethnic groups. We can connect it with, we can say, tribes. So, we are bringing in the component of race as well over here when we are discussing about it, right? So, that's there. So, tribes. Because what is ethnicity? Yesterday only I was discussing about this to all of you. So, ethnicity is a social cultural recognition, distinctness in social and cultural aspect. So, it can be on the basis of religion, and or, so religion I have created a separate subsegment. It can be on the basis of distinct language, it can be on the basis of distinct race. So, tribes are considered as distinct ethnic groups as well. Okay. Any other subcomponent you feel like adding, you have the intellectual space to add those categories as per the suitability of the topic further over here. Again, you can think of a topic from the perspective of problems. So, when we speak of problems, a lot of problems can be enlisted. There is no space over here. So, I'm just making a diagram to be discussed later. I'm just mentioning this. Then we can think the topic from the perspective of types. Like, let us consider, for example, if I'm discussing about this idea of types. So, for example, if I'm talking about education, so the segment of education can be reflected from two types: formal, informal. Or education can also be reflected from the perspective of, we can say, pre primary, primary, secondary, higher, right? Or I can give you another example also. If we speak of, like, let us say, development. So, with respect to the component of development, we all can reflect it from the perspective of, like, let's say, inclusive development and sustainable development, or maybe development and growth. How are they connected? How are they segregated? Right? So, types, when we are talking about types, skill upgradation is a method to develop someone. That's a, we can say, that's a tool. We are not talking about tool, we are talking about types. So, we cannot put skill upgradation is a type of development. I mean, skill upgradation is, we can say, a causal factor. Anyway, we can then discuss about dimensions. Under the component of dimensions, we can reflect upon social, cultural. See, I'm not putting historical because past is already given. So here historical aspect is already covered. So we put in the segment of political. You can also put in the segment of legal administrative. You can bring in the points of polity and governance. So legal administrative, even internal security points can be given. Then you can think of the component associated with science and technology. You can think it from the perspective of environment. You can think it from the dimension of economics, the dimension of psychology, right? So you can bring in a lot of segments or sub-segments associated with this area as well. Economy, it's written economics, I've written. Yeah, you can see that. Second last, SM and Sri Devi, right? Or all those who are suggesting. So you can connect it with this given sub-segment. Then you can associate it with quotients. So how is the topic associated with the physical quotient? So education, as it should be, physical education, physical quotient, physical health, nutritional health, overall well-being in that perspective. Again, intellectual quotient, how does it impact a person at intellectual level? The emotional quotient. Then you can reflect upon the topic from spiritual quotient as well, or the ethical quotient, which can be substantiated under the segment of broader human values and principles. Broader human values and principles. Here you can talk of integrity, unity, decentralization, balance, diversity, put in etc., because it's quite broad. It has been taught to you quite thoroughly. Yes, selflessness, tolerance, all that can be associated with it. Quotient is capability to measure, Abhishek. Emotional intelligence, you have studied. Then I had taught emotional quotient. So, capability to measure. There are certain tools and methods to measure it. Like your health can be measured with your BMI, right? So, that's what. Similarly, like we have IQ tests, right? Similarly, the emotional quotient. So, that's what. So, I hope all of you can see this very exhaustive list of thinking about a topic related to brain mapping, what all segments can be created, right? So, when we are discussing about this given subsegment of essay writing, so from random brainstorming, which is a tool for creativity, it's like picking the gold ring or the diamond ring out of a sack of potatoes, sack of potato of ideas. It's like randomly sprayed. You pick the most creative one, the essence, the core of the topic, because that will also spurt up when you are thinking about the topic and randomly writing all the points in one place. Then comes the component of brain mapping, when you are writing it in an organized fashion, when you are recalling points segment after segment after segment after segment. So rather than the school days method of I will think from social, economic, political, like economic, all those aspects, that's given. You can see this segment of dimension, right? So that's always there. But there are other like segments also which will help you to think better. If you remember when we were discussing about the topic related to tranquil self, so in that topic you all realized, you said that ma'am, self. So the way you discussed this, that when we are doing planning and systematic planning, so that systematic planning can lead to tranquil self. So self, I connected it with individual, how planning is important for an individual, how planning is important for the budgeting of a family, for the existence of a family, priorities of a family, how planning is important at regional level for regional development, knowing what resources are there and what strengths and weaknesses are there and what needs to be worked out. Planning is essential. I shared it, it is also essential for, we can connect it with the other higher levels when we are discussing about it from the segment of I shared that is associated with the global level. So, how the global community needs to come together and work it out. So, you said, ma'am, can we not understand this idea of self from so many segments? Can we note it down? I said, don't need to note it down. You'll find it when we are discussing about brain mapping. So, here is the game. Here is the game whereby you can reflect. Can we write these aspects as heading and subheading in the exam? No. This is a tool to recall points. This is a tool to bring everything on paper. When you organize the idea, the flow and corollary of idea, then you can paraphrase it. You don't need to put heading, subheading. That is a bit kiddish because it breaks the flow. One thing. Second thing, if you remember that UPSC, I mean, when it is asking you to write an essay, it is a piece of literature, which I said, which is expressing your ideas. It's not a GS answer. So don't try to write it like a GS answer. 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D, heading, then subheading, then uska bachcha subheading, to subheading ka subheading. Do away with all that method. I know that it brings clarity and it brings confidence that yes, you can create all of it. I know that initially at your age, when things are pretty unsure and you are jittery what to write, how much to write, then bringing things into heading, subheading creates clarity, it creates ease of memory. Yes, towards the beginning, yes, But the mark of maturity and the capability to write an essay is this, because never forget that you are not only supposed to keep close to the subject but also arrange the ideas in an orderly fashion. So you arrange the ideas means there should be a flow in writing, and the flow, when you have to create it, then it's not necessary that it is only coming with heading and subheading, right? So let us take a break and let us be back again. It's 6:47. Let us be back after 15 minutes. All right. And all your queries, all your doubts that you have, you can just ask. And along with that, we will be discussing about what is this component of problems and what is this component of dimensions. Because still, let me assure this to all of you that there are a lot of questions and queries which you are not aware about. And uh, though this sheet creates a lot of confidence, oh, I can think from 40 other perspectives, but still there are some lacunas in thinking, possibilities associated with it which hinders you, which we'll be discussing about the break. So it is 6:48. Let's take a break and be back again with some fresh, insightful discussion which you might be missing out on. All right, so I'm just hyphenating this. Is it working? Yeah. All right. Welcome back, all of you. So, we were discussing about brain mapping. So, in the component of brain mapping, I said that we would be substantiating the finer details associated with it and what are the segments that could have been incorporated further, right? So, in this given dimension, once again, a very warm welcome. Thank you, Shubham. All right. So, with respect to this, when we are moving ahead, there are two segments which we wanted to reflect upon. One was associated with the component of problems, and second is associated with dimensions. So, let us start reflecting upon the two. First and foremost, when we discuss about problems, there are two segments which you need to understand. Every topic can have its own distinct set of problems, like every single topic can have its own list of problems. And along with that, we can also reflect upon some specific generalized problems in which the topic can be analyzed, right? For example, when we are speaking of this given dimension, let us reflect upon a few previous year questions and whether problems can be enlisted with respect to it or not. So let's say this is 2017 topic which all of you can see, and you can just see this given dimension. The first topic: farming has lost its ability to be a source of subsistence for majority of farmers in India. I'm purposefully choosing a easier topic for all of you, and then we can take it further to philosophical topics later. So here, farming has lost its ability to be a source of subsistence for majority of farmers in India. Now, why majority of farmers? Because 84% of farmers are small farmers. Small farmers, or they are landless labor, right? Landless labor. When we speak of it pertaining to, we can say, the component of agriculture. So, National Agricultural Report 2017. Okay. So, here when we are discussing about it, farming has lost the ability to be a source of subsistence for majority of farmers in India, right? So, here we all can reflect upon this given statement, that what is the challenge or what is the problem. So, few of you have started speaking of it. So, landless farmer or marginal labor, okay, that's one reason. Lack of modern technique, okay, so lack of modern techniques. You're also talking about like crop failure, all right, crop failure. You're also talking about global warming. Then few of you are again talking about lack of capital, lack of capital. Low income trap is a byproduct of all this, no? So, yes, lack of water supply, lack of water supply, insurance, subsidies. Changing climate is associated with global warming, right? So, suicide rate, farming has lost its ability due to suicide rate. That's a byproduct, no? Right? Dependence on rainfall, okay. So, dependence on rainfall. So other than the typical traditional answers that you all are talking about, farmers distress is a byproduct, it's not a cause we are talking about, the cause, okay. Obsolete methods is lack of modern techniques, right? Okay, soil fertility, all right, soil fertility, right? So farming has lost its ability due to like societal discrimination, is it so, Sachin? Let us focus on the topic. Lack of R&D on the topic, okay. So lack of R&D and development of modern tools, technology, okay. Fertilizers, so improper usage of fertilizers and pesticides, which also impacts the we can say the soil per se, okay. So farming has lost its ability, you are saying, due to storage. First and foremost, it is the size of the land, okay. Remember that, size of the land. Size of land, if it is too small, even if you provide all of it, high yielding variety seeds, this and that, a person cannot grow enough, right? So, fragmentation of land, yes, Shubham. inflation, crop rotations. Okay, yes. So fragmentation of land, government schemes not properly implemented, lack of capital. I've already written, if you can notice this, lack of capital. So no point repeating it. So seeds, all right, fertilizers, pesticides, seeds, the quality. Government schemes not implemented can be connected to corruption. All right, so low MSP. So yes, we were talking about subsidies slash also the cause of low MSP, right? We can connect with that. Yes, lack of irrigation and dependence on rainfall, we have already noted down. So no point repeating ourselves. Delayed rainfall is a byproduct of it. Less availability of loans, so lack of capital, loans, fine. So now, as I have to build upon this given area, because on the loop almost similar points are repeating itself. So how about going for some generalized points beyond these points that you were reflecting upon, right? So the points that you were suggesting, if I move ahead with respect to these points, we can see there are 10 biggest problems. This was a millennial study group which was published in the Business Insider. So the 10 prominent problems that were discussed were this: climate change and destruction of natural resources. Can we connect it with farmers? Yes. Large scale conflict and wars, that will be too far stretched. It's like jabardasti kaan pooch marod ke ghusa dena. So we don't have to do forcefully. Okay. So we don't have to like encourage a point forcefully. Religious conflict, again, it will be too forceful. Poverty, yes. Lack of government accountability, transparency, corruption, yes. So again, further, when we are talking about safety, security and well-being, yes. Lack of education, yes. Food and water security, yes, that is missing. Lack of economic opportunity, unemployment, yes, that's there. Okay, so that's there. We all can think of all these given possibilities. Yeah, Ukrainian farmers are affected by the war, Ravi, but the thing is, it's not a generalized situation. So we have to refrain from anything which is too typical or something which is too, like, extreme in that specific possibility. Okay, so yes, we can consider that the bread basket will get affected due to the Ukraine war, or for that matter, if war is happening, then the border areas of India and Pakistan also gets affected. But when we are discussing about this psychological mindset that is reducing the profit in agriculture, agreed. Think about more problems which are generalized problems, which can impact the possibilities. So we can, after these 10 problems, we can think from our perspective, problems which are impacting the world in general, and then we'll connect it with the topic accordingly. So problems can be connected with, like, let's say, Naxalism, terrorism. We can connect problems associated with drug abuse, and the, like, the drug, the arms trade, all of it. Okay, so drug abuse. We can think of possibility related to human trafficking, and like human trafficking, organ trafficking. We can think of some prominent problems like overpopulation. We can think problems like cyber security. In the future, we can think problems related to artificial intelligence, right? So we can think of all these problems along with, we can say, forms of discrimination. Any forms of discrimination, if we have. We can think of that, put it here. Though forms of discrimination is a part of sections of society, they will experience forms of discrimination. So I'll not add more burden to your thought. Okay, disguised unemployment, the moment you can think of the point, you can think all forms of unemployment. That is possible. So money laundering is a form of corruption. There are various forms of corruption. The moment you see corruption, you can think of smuggling, arms and ammunition, money laundering. All this is a type of forms of corruption. In the brain mapping, we have only written the negative aspect or positive. It's a neutral aspect. When you think of economic, political, social, it is a neutral aspect, nothing to do with positive or negative. When you think of different sections of society, they can be empowered or they can be disempowered. So you can play with it. They are neutral points in brain mapping. So space pollution, new technology and technique. Space pollution is not a point which will be relevant for all points. It's not a generalized problem related to every point or every topic of essay, so we can like skip it. Anyway, I'm keeping this intellectual space open for you that you can memorize. Now remember, there is no shortcut to this. You have to memorize all these points. Memorize these points and use it related to any given topic. Like, let's say when we are talking about this, so you can always reflect that with respect to this component of Naxalism, terrorism, drug abuse, which of them can be associated with farmers? Can we connect like this component with farmers? Naxalism, yes. Terrorism, too far fetched. Drug abuse, yes, farmers in Punjab. Human trafficking, organ trafficking, again, that's too stretched. Overpopulation, yes, that leads to fragmentation of land. Cyber security, well, again, a little too far fetched. And artificial intelligence, the present problem will not be associated with artificial intelligence. Mechanization of work is something which we cannot. Women farmer are not count. Arey bhai, women farmer, you will talk about this problem, no, over here in the component of gender. कुछ तो डालोगे जेंडर में, right? So that's why I'm not keeping those the points which can have a reflection over here. Okay, so again, when we are discussing about this given subsegment, you all can understand that how 11 and 12 related to farmer. Not understand, please help SME. Naxalism, I mean, entire red corridor moving from Bihar to Jharkhand. I mean, are you not aware of the roots of Naxalism? It started in first and foremost in West Bengal, and it was a protest by farmers. So, for that, Shweta, it seems your internal security, yeah, either the topic has not been taught to you, you need to go through that, right? The Naxalbari movement, yes, the history of it. Either internal security has not been taught to you, or it was taught, you missed the classes, or you need better revision. Either of it is your truth. In that situation, it initially started against feudalism. Over the time period, Montu, it started getting a lot of, we can say, support, international support coming from China, and creating the possibility of threat. Okay, the geopolitical aspects, yes. Not taught so far, no problem. So when you will study about Naxalism, you will come to know that initially it started as a farmers movement, and even today the grassroots level support comes with respect to the farmers. Okay, it is the grassroots level, we can say, farmers who are manipulated ideologically to be a part of the Naxal movement. It's not like Naxals are coming out of the blue. You need to understand that in Jharkhand, when trucks are looted, when food godowns are looted, it is the common villagers who go and loot and plunder. 500 people surrounding a food truck or a truck loaded with grains going to, we can say, Food Corporation of India, and before it reaches in between, the truck gets looted. 500 people attacking it, carrying their own share. So in that situation, you can see this given problem. Again, drug abuse, when we speak of it, the same issue. The moment we are talking about the component of drug abuse, you can see that in Punjab, in northeastern parts of India, Manipur and all, you can see that the problem of drug abuse is becoming more and more intense, especially with the younger lot, the younger generation associated with farming. Okay. So overpopulation, yet another segment which you can connect with this. So yeah, drug abuse is not followed by most of the farmers, but alcoholism has increased. So you can always like connect. You can always connect, because if a farmer is like losing hope, with respect to the productivity, then what will happen? The farmer will have a higher tendency, the farmer will have a higher chance, okay, of, I would say, getting into any kind of crime, getting into any kind of deviance, or getting into depression, or getting into drug abuse, or becoming violent and becoming Naxal, or becoming totally hopeless and committing suicide. These are all manifestations of the same pattern of hopelessness and failure. All right. That's how you're supposed to understand that. Does the negative approach used in essay may affect the quality of essay from the examiner's point of view? No, Baldev. The examiner is not a saint who wants to see only goody good things. Anyway, saints also don't want to see goody good things. That is the fake impression created in the, I don't know, by few mentors, and that's not the healthy way of seeing it. Your examiner, as I shared yesterday, is who is a university professor who's looking for a bureaucrat who can see the facts as facts, who can talk about problems as problems and then offer solutions. Unlike, we can say, intellectuals or academicians, the person is not only talking about problems and walking off, the person is also offering solutions. And let me tell you, intellectuals and academicians are the ones who do research at ground level and they offer solutions. What ought to happen? How we can survive the situation? So, we are not talking about mere protesters. We are talking about bureaucrats who face the problem and then they talk about solutions. So, Baldev, if you don't talk about problems and you are only talking about the happy picture you are painting, question is saying majority of the farmers are not able to sustain and survive, and you are open to paint a happy picture. No, no, I'll not talk about problems of sustainability, problems of survival, I'll only talk about good things. Will that really create a profound essay? Will that show a balanced human being? Will that show a person who is able to understand the challenges of Indian society and ready to fix it? So I think I have answered you, Baldev, right? So can we write criticism? Any day you can write criticism, Shruti. I don't know why. I like a balance between negative and positive points. Yes, you should have a balance between negative and positive points. What I don't understand is that whenever we go for critical analysis questions in GS, or when we go for topics related to essay, because like when we are talking about all these given dimensions, definitely these dimensions will not only are not associated. Problem is just this segment is problem which we are discussing. In other dimensions, quotients, broader human values, you're talking about good things, you're talking about solution. I don't understand that what is wrong with your generation, that batch after batch, whenever I teach, I come across at least 5 to 10 students. Ma'am, can we talk about problems? Can we talk about criticism? Is it possible to really talk? I don't know who is injecting this wrong idea in your brain that you cannot talk about problems at all, you cannot discuss or criticize at all. Who is actually creating the threat for you? Why are you so scared to talk about the problems? And if the bureaucrats of India are not talking about the problems, then how will they arrive at solutions? And just lapping up the name of schemes is not going to fix the problem. Understanding the intensity of vulnerability and coming up not only with solutions in the name of what schemes are running, but also proposed solutions which are coming from you. And maybe you don't have that solution, you are reading it from some article in the newspaper or a magazine which some intellectual has written and offered some solutions, profound solutions, memorizing that, recreating that in the exam. That is what is needed. All right. So that's what you have to create. So we should not criticize the government. Well. The thing is, you are going to represent the constitution, the state. Governments will come and go. And no one is picture perfect. No one is hunky dory. Those who say, quote unquote, we should not criticize the government. If the government is not open to criticism, then why in economic survey year after year, the which scheme was implemented how, what is the failure in a specific scheme, what are the drawbacks, what are the lacunas, what future targets needs to be created, why does the government publish that? The government is not scared to publish it. Who is publishing all that report for the government? The bureaucrats. So your seniors are doing that, but you are injected with the idea I don't have to talk about it. Okay, like holier than thou treatment to the government. Who is asking to you to do that? You have to reflect upon what is going wrong in terms of the schemes, interventions, policies, and then you have to offer solutions. You are going to be the future of this country, who's going to lead it. A leader is not supposed to be scared. A leader is supposed to be rational, logical, look into things as they are, objective, then understand the subjectivity of the problem, and then offer solutions. Right? Yes, exactly. It's without flagging issues and challenges, you cannot offer solutions. So very true, Shubham. If you're going for that, this is something which is going to create a problem. Constructive criticism is a must. If that's not happening in your essay or your GS answers when asked, because questions related to analyze, critically analyze, okay, reflect, in those comment, in these kind of questions, if you're not balancing the criticism, if you're not writing the criticism, you're lost. If you're writing definition, types, suggestions, lost. The answer is lost. Zero. Because we need to reflect upon the problem and then offer solutions in questions related to comment, analyze, critically analyze. Okay. So these questions require that in depth, wholesome reflection. I hope so. There is no sedition in UPSC. No, no, Niranjan. If sedition was the issue, then in that situation, as I said, economic survey won't have been published with all the strengths and limitations every year being published. It's still a mark of the possibility that what is happening in the country and what needs to be done. Every now and then in Yojana or Kurukshetra magazine, whatever is being implemented at grassroots level, that is critically analyzed. What we have done, how far we have achieved, what more needs to be done, what steps are taken and what needs to be taken, all of it. Why such articles are published by Ministry of Information and Broadcasting or Rural Development Ministry? So ministries are publishing such content. How? Why? We need to question that, right? So what are the problems and what should be done? We discussed about it. Congratulations, Abhishek, for joining in time, in the niche of time. So questions should be delivered in a supporting point and which we are marked out. We never be right or wrong. No, you have to be like balanced as per the demand of the question. If the question is associated with, like, let's say, um, elucidate, then you have to explain, simplify and explain. If the question is describe, again you have to get into like elaborating upon it and explaining it. But the moment it is analyze, comment, critically analyze, okay, reflect, and in these questions, if you're not coming up with discussing the problems, challenges and criticism along with offering few solutions, if that's not being done, the answer loses its torque, it loses its balance, it fails to address its requirement, and in that case any GS subject you'll lose marks. Simple. So please understand the types of questions, the demand of the questions, and accordingly discuss. It's startling that the moment you see problems, I have problems, I'll not discuss about problems. Always goody good things, happy go lucky. Even if the topic is asking me that majority of the farmers are unable to live with subsistence, I'll not talk about the problems associated with their subsistence. Why to discuss so many problems? Nothing is happening to farmers. They are eating pizza and they are having a very happy life. No need to talk about it, right? God. This is something like that is like the possibility. Yes, like Sanjay Abaru, the media advisor to PM Manmohan Singh, he criticized him in his book, The Accidental Prime Minister. And though there was a healthy criticism also, which was entertained. Yes, you need to be true and sensitive. That's what. Okay. Quotient, फिर से एक बच्चा आ गया quotient. What are the students doing? Do they sleep when the concepts are explained? SME, please support. One student just before the break had explained what is quotient. This is the mark of either a sleepy student or a student who was not attentive at all times in the class. So two students have been identified with this. That is Aarti, okay, and another student is Shivam. So this word quotient has been explained before the break. I took your name so that next time any sleepy head thinks twice, okay, that why did I become so sleepy. This has been explained in the class. SME, please like respond to them. What is the meaning of quotient? Okay. So quotient I have explained. Now we will discuss about the and how to reflect upon quotient. I discussed it from the perspective of the topic of education as well. Okay. So Goldberg cannot get effective marks in essay. Not only in essay, wholesome preparation, Abhijit. Even in like interview, I'll tell you, there was this student of mine, Siddharth. He in 2018, there was Bassi sir in his board. He was there. So Bassi sir asked him. It was 18 or 19. I think it was 18. Yeah. So he was asked this question that okay, Siddharth, tell me that. What which government is better according to you, the present government or the past government, when we reflect upon the idea of development? Okay, so this seems to be a very political question, but had to be handled in an apolitical manner. So he discussed about this. He said that, sir, the previous government was more associated with inclusive development, whereby we can see interventions like the MGREGS was included or it was started. We could also see that inclusive growth was the goal of 5-year plan, whereas the present government is associated with economic development, whereby we can say infrastructure development is focused, roads and railways are being boosted. We can also see the Smart India, Stand Up India, so Startup India, Stand Up India initiatives are started so that the economic development of the country can be strengthened and ensured. So this question was a balanced answer. It did not exercise non-party, like you can see partisan behavior. Remember in ethics class I discussed partisan, whereby you are having a biased political opinion. So he saved himself from the biased political opinion and he gave the most balanced, politically balanced statement, that is a political answer. So he gave this answer, that what the previous government has done and has achieved and what is the present government doing and has achieved. Is it not having an implicit tone if you actually delve deep, that the previous government was focusing more on social and inclusive development, so economic development was not the priority, not so much of a priority, and the present government is more on economic development and inclusivity is not so much of a priority? That also can be derived, right? But this is not the statement that is spoken, because the examiner, the person asked, according to you, which government is better in the quotient of development, understanding development, and why, and bringing an apolitical answer. All right. So what can be the environmental dimension? Anshu, just hold your horses. First, let us understand these basic terms and terminologies, right? So everyone is understanding this, yeah? How to maintain the balance. You will get questions in the papers, in GS papers, which will be quite politically debated in newspapers and magazines. But you have to write things which are based on facts, one. Other than facts, they are associated with causes, problems, challenges, solutions, suggestions, future course of action. All those segments should be fulfilled. Political opinions need not be borrowed. You have to write anything in consonance with the constitution, with the broader human values. If you're writing the answer in consonance with the constitution and broader human values, your answer gains balance. That gains, it reaches out to the larger audience. The perspective associated with the masses is covered, and examiner appreciates that. Okay, so please do remember that. So yes, he did get 186 in his interview, Rathod. There were various questions in which the loop was thrown to trap him. Okay, and he successfully sailed through because his answers were through and through reflective. This is what I can say. So answers need to be balanced with facts. Yes, that's how Samantare you are able to prove your point. You are able to prove that how things are proposed or how things are created, right? Next year will be general election. Hence, UPSC will conduct pre. Why will UPSC not conduct pre? Is it for the first time, Shruti, that general election is happening post independence? And every time general election happens, we don't have pre exams consecutively. I mean, what kind of question is this coming from a student preparing for becoming a bureaucrat, a civil servant? Yes, yes, yes. Doesn't matter, Shruti. Doesn't matter. General election is not riots. Danga thodi ho raha hai. So if it is not a riot, okay, it is you need to understand it's not a riot that is going to happen that students cannot step out. God forbid riots happen. If that happens, then definitely the exam will be postponed. But under normal situations, it is not expected to be a rioteering situation. It's just a political mandate of people being exercised. And this is an exam, competitive exam. Both are two different things. Now, so I hope all of you are able to understand this, right? Yeah, problems. So problems connected with different topics. Let us play with one more topic. Okay, before going to another topic, one of your friends had asked, ma'am, how can we connect the education topic associated with environmental dimension? You can connect it like with environmental studies being a prominent subject from a very young age. We can empower the students with a sense of responsibility or accountability towards environment. Every individual understands the importance of not only planting a sapling but nurturing it into a tree. Okay, so all those segments can be added. All right. Education brings sensitivity and responsibility associated with like a responsibility associated with what is unfolding. All right, Shruti, that is possible when you are talking about it being postponed, but why are you bothered? Even if it gets postponed, it will be not be more than 10 to 15 days of up or down, as simple as that. Okay, but UPSC will not like fidget, because let me tell you, UPSC is a very, very strenuous body, and anything it determines or designs, it is announced way beforehand, like 15 or 20 days is not the time, at least 1 month to 2 months beforehand it announces. So UPSC has released its calendar. You have to appear for the exam. So and as you are suggesting that one of the senior faculties has also said that it may get postponed. So postponed, he has said, not cancelled. You were asking, ma'am, will prelims be cancelled? So I hope you understand the magnanimity of your interpretation, right? Okay. So yeah, there can be two Shrutis also, Shruti. There are two like names quite common in this class, and you have to be like okay with it. So with respect to this, when we are moving ahead, let us please focus, because we were dealing with so much of beauty in terms of brain mapping, right? So let us understand this component of problem from one more perspective. This is important for all of you. So let us consider, maybe a philosophical topic will be too tricky for you to think in the initial go. So let me take up a topic like this one. Poverty anywhere is a threat to prosperity everywhere. Think about the problems. Yes, problems. Poverty anywhere. SME, please support me with the answers of the students as they are asking, because I have to like reflect upon the topic now. Yes, poverty anywhere is a threat to prosperity everywhere. Yeah. What are the problems? Okay, it can create violence. So any kind of violence or civil war like situation, civil war or riots. Okay, there will be issues associated with slums. There can be problems associated with inflation. Okay, inequality, famine, debt. Now, what I'll encourage all of you is, first recall the genuine problems which come in your mind, the problems pertaining to the topic. Once you are exhausted with the topic, like let's say once you have thought enough points associated with the topic, then you come up with the solution associated with the 10 problems. And ask yourself that poverty anywhere is a threat to prosperity everywhere. So, can poverty happen due to climate change? And if poverty is happening due to climate change, and when resources go missing in certain parts of the world, will that lead to any kind of strain in other parts of the world? You'll be like, yes. So you'll be like, fine. Again, large scale conflicts and wars, yes. Can poverty anywhere, when we are talking about it, poverty anywhere can lead to threat to prosperity everywhere. So poverty of resources will be designed in the lines of religion. People will create identity politics, that just because of that religion our resources are not sufficient, just because of that religion existing in our country our resources are depleting, and that can lead to a religious conflict. So yes, that's there. Lack of government accountability, transparency and corruption, can that lead to poverty when we are speaking of it? And we can consider. Yes. Moving further, safety, security, well-being, we can connect. Education, yes. Lack of political freedom, political instability, yes. Political instability can be caused. Food and water, economic opportunity, Naxalism, terrorism, you can see that. So other than the key points that you think associated with a topic, any topic can be associated with these problems. On an average, not every problem, but I would say out of like 16 problems, a handful of them will be relevant to the topic. Okay. So that is something which we can like reflect upon or we can connect with, right? Again, when we are speaking of it, let us reflect this given dimension with one more topic when we are speaking of it. So let's say, let us take a simpler topic once again. See this one: social media is inherently a selfish medium. You can see this: social media, yeah. Or maybe I'll take this topic in debatable topic, so maybe I can take up another topic related to this one. There was a topic on social media, yeah, this one: biased media is a real threat to Indian democracy. Biased media is a real threat to Indian democracy. I'll talk about this interrogative segment, Shruti, little later. All right, that the answer is there, but little later. Right now, let's play with this issue of problems. Yes, biased media is a threat to Indian democracy. Problems. What are the challenges to this topic generally? Generally, what problems can you associate with? Quick. Okay, so it can create fake news. Very good. Fake news. It can create hegemony. All right. What else? It can, fake news can negatively influence people. Agreed. Agreed. Think of fresh points which you can think. Biased media, a threat to Indian democracy. How? Okay, hate speech. All right, hate speech. It can influence the vote bank politics. Vote bank politics. You can also talk about, yeah, political polarization and communal comments. Okay, so political polarization, right? Misleading is over here. Misleading is here, right? Incitement, yes, very good. So that's there. It can cause violence of all forms. Agreed. So it can lead to violence of all forms. All right. Centralization, hegemony. So centralization, autocratic rule. It can impact trade. Yes. So I think all of you are able to think of few points to flash with, right? After the flash of points that you experienced related to the topic, let us get back to the final exercise of connecting it with problems. Okay. So when we are talking about the media, the biased media threatening democracy, biased media, can it underreport the problems of climate change because like let's say it is fed by certain politicians or local, we can say, contractors who encourage the media not to report intensely the kind of devastation that's happening to the nature? Can that happen? Yeah. So underreporting of this issue, underreporting or false reporting, that can happen, right? Underreporting. Or we can also say other sensational information will be prioritized. So sensationalism over sensitivity can be exercised by them. Biased media, you were already talking about conflict, so rather than writing large scale conflict and war, we can say misreporting. Misreporting. And religious conflict, you were already talking about this given sub dimension, right? So misreporting with respect to, like, we can see it happened massively during the Russian Ukrainian war. You can think of it with respect to Israel and Palestine, right? So right, etc. You can think of that. You can think of can biased media again threaten democracy? So biased media will never give the real picture, real picture, the true figure of poverty. The the cases of poverty will be underreported, so underreporting it. Yes, manipulating the numbers. Again, lack of government accountability, transparency, corruption. Yes, that's like very, very clear that yes, biased media can create it. Again, safety, security, and well being. Can we connect it? Safety, security, and well being. Biased media. Yes. So it can, when correct information is a is a prerequisite is a prerequisite for safety. You cannot be safe if you don't have complete information. So you can connect it with this. Again, education. So education and awareness is not only by schools, parents, it is also through sources of media. So we can say, yes, education, awareness can get affected. So awareness can go down of people. Political freedom, political instability. Yes, political freedom where plurality of opinions can be culled, plurality of opinions. So plurality of opinions can go down. Okay. Lack of economic opportunity, unemployment. So I think you can justify. You can now justify. You can connect the points associated with like terrorism. So you can see manipulation of information. The problem associated with different types of crimes happening in the world. You can. I think you are now being capable. Are you like feeling that sense of confidence that having this list of problems will create a sense of ease for all of you to recall? First, you are like recalling the problems in general related to the topic that you know. The moment you feel that your points or your topics or your insights, the points that you know, the moment you realize that that's going away, the moment you realize that ab mere paas point nahi bacha hai, the moment you feel that I cannot recall the points which are direct in nature, then in that situation you can come up with like specific points as well, right? I think you can deal with this. Yeah. Yes, you can think of mob lynching also, justice destruction. Yes, you can think of corporate influence also, which also impacts the media. Yes. So yes, we'll come up with paraphrasing the information, Santosh, later. First, we are just bringing it on whole easy on board. Pam, please write one whole easy on board. I won't be writing one whole easy because here I am just bringing in the topic and I'm asking, can you connect it with problems? That's it. Can you recall the problems? Right? So I hope if you remember these list of problems, other than the typical problems associated with a topic, because every topic has its problems and they are topical in nature, means because they are exclusive to that topic. The problem associated with farmer will be different from problem associated with biased media. Problem associated with biased media will be very different from problems associated with women or problem related to the topic of education. So there will be exclusive list of problems that you will have. After the exclusive list, what do you know? What do you need? So after the exclusive list, the moment you start feeling ki yaar, I'm forgetting the points, now I can't recall the points, then this will be helpful. This area, that is the list of points which I have given related to the problems. Okay. So first recall your typical points related to the chapter, related to the subtopic. Education, what are the problems? Or women, if the topic is women, what are the problems? If the topic is associated with media, what are the problems? First recall the typical problems. Once you are getting exhausted, connect it with this, right? I hope all of you are understanding this. Yeah. Okay. So while writing essay on biased media, can we call biased media as Godi media? Yeah, you can put that. Yellow journalism is a better word. Okay, yellow journalism. So you should know the more formal terms, right? So I think all of you are getting an idea the purpose of this list. The purpose of this list. This list is exhaustive. It is general, but you will have an access to key points related to the dimension that you are studying. Okay. So any chapter you are studying or any topic which you are attempting will have its own exclusive problems. Beyond that, what needs to be thought? So once you are getting like low on points, this will be helpful. Now, moving ahead, another set of question with respect to this. Dimensions. When we are discussing about the dimensions, yes, let me ask this segment from all of you. If suppose I have to write the economic dimension of education as it should be, okay, so let me like take you to that specific segment. So we started with this education as it should be, right? In education as it should be, suppose I have to open the economic dimension. What economic points will you write? Let me see whether you can recreate points under the segment of dimension, because here you learnt right now dimensions. So can you create content or substantiate the content with respect to dimensions? So education as it should be, what economic dimensions? Okay, so employment, um, after employment, um, I don't want to see social points. Okay, a lot of you are also writing social points. Research is again associated with education, social. Affordability is also associated with social justice. Family background is also social, right? So let us not mix it. Financial info reservation is again political intervention, Rashmi, right? So, okay, all right. So few of you have started talking about it. So skill development, I'll write down. After skill development, which economic point can be given? Yes, let me see. Brain drain. Okay, all right. Brain drain. Someone said taxation education. Yes, tax education. What else? What else, people? Development of infrastructure. Okay, all right. So, development with respect to infrastructure. Good. More exposure to the trading market. Okay, all right, Sahil. So, trading market. Something more? Something more? Investment in education should go up. All right, investment. Something more? Budgeting. Okay, so budgeting, with respect to budgeting, what will you write, Devansh? Yes, with respect to budgeting. So, are you talking about budget for education? We can connect that. Digital literacy, let's take it with science and technology. Payal, right? So, savings. Okay, yes, we can talk about savings. Free of cost education. Okay, affordability. Affordability can be connected. All right, all right, fine. Okay, now there is a repetition of points. This is what I can see. Skill development connected with entrepreneurship. I'll just put it here. Yes, something more. Um, okay, now I'm seeing a repetition of points once again. Like, just in other words, people are flipping the points. Let me create a sense of ease, because you have a sense of idea associated with this given topic now, and that's why I'm keeping the topic easy and simple, so that it creates a sense of connectivity and capability to recall. Now, when you are discussing about this given topic, can you connect social, because you just have completed social issues? So how about reflecting upon this given topic, education as it should be, from the social component? Because in this, in economic component, you are repeating yourself. So how about, because either it is another subject or it is a repetition. So with respect to, like, let's say social. Okay, so in social I can see crime rate. Can, okay, equality, okay, equality, crime, drug abuse, social problems, right? So I'll just write one word and that shall incorporate it all. Social problems, right? Let us not repeat the dimension. See, please remember one more thing which I want to reflect with all of you. Problems, types of problems we have discussed. We will not recall the points now. Let me show this to you, and that will make more sense to all of you. See this? Sections of society you don't have to say. Because why would I write social if I had to repeat sections of society? Huh? So I'm not expecting you to talk about individual, family, because this is associated with social. Sections of society, I'm not expecting you to give me points related to it. Okay. So no individual, family, sections of society points coming from your side. Okay. Let it be something creative. Let me see that you're creating something different from that. Again, do not give me points associated with, like, let's say the problems. I don't want problems also. Don't repeat yourself. Tell me something which is fresh related to social. Okay. Corruption will be administrative. Okay. Patriarchy will get connected to the component of gender. Inclusive growth, when you are taking care of all sections of society, inclusive growth happens. Domestic violence, education should be free from domestic violence. Anushka, gender. Upper and lower class, okay, yes, we can connect this component of class. I was thinking at that time I'm missing out on something. So this is it, class. You can think of any topic from the perspective of class. Rich, middle, poor. Right? So again, that is also covered here. So what to create under the component of social? I'm very confident many of you will struggle with this. Agriculture will go with economy. Yeah. Unemployment going with economy. Eradication of Naxalism covered in problems. So what will you write in social? Race, is there a part of ethnicity? Why spirituality when we have broader human values? Laws and regulation is a part of legal, administrative, or political point. What should be written in social? Malnutrition. Okay, I can consider. Education as it should be free from malnutrition. Tribal education, tribes is given in sections of society. If you're talking about minority group, it is a part of religion. Mhm. Hmm. School dropouts. Okay, school dropouts. Urbanization connected to region. Urban, industrial, post-industrial, we have it. Less domestic, by domestic violence topic is associated with the gender component. As simple as that. Okay, now let me train you with this new thing, which probably you people have not realized so far. What should be written beyond sections of society, beyond problems, beyond individual and family, whereby the point is new and fresh? What should be done? When this question was raised by me, you should have immediately reflected upon the syllabus. Okay. So, what is the syllabus associated with social issues? You remember the syllabus, people? I hope you do. And if you remember the syllabus, I believe that you all can, if you recall the syllabus, and if you recall the syllabus with respect to the points which are given here in the slide, you can connect which part is there in the syllabus and which is not. Like, for example, when we are talking about education as it should be, let me write it for those students who have a tendency to forget and who are like, ma'am, please use one sheet only. So, for them, education as it should be. Okay. So, if I'm reflecting upon education as it should be from social perspective, I first recall the first chapter, salient features of Indian society. Salient features of Indian society. So, what are the salient features if I recall? Diversity. Can I see diversity? So, maybe sections of society is talking about diversity, but education as it should be. If I have to write, I can write down that if education is duly imparted, tolerance and the spirit of diversity is strengthened, whereby the people start having a better level of acceptance and appreciation towards diversity, which further articulates into strengthening secularism in the society or making the society more secular. See this. Then you can also think, because we are recalling the syllabus. In the syllabus of social issues, you also have population and urbanization. So I could have connected that with education or with sex education, we can see that overpopulation can be put under check. All forms of STDs can be put under check. With education, we can delay child marriage and we can thus control child mortality and maternal mortality. We can ensure good health of mother and child by imparting qualitative education to women as well as people of different age groups so that they have a sensitized approach towards the idea of marriage. Think about it, right? When we speak of this dimension of education, we can see that with the increased levels of divorce and separation, which creates a damaging impact, especially on the children and other family members, with education, sensitization, empathy, and compassion being inculcated, capability to cope up with the strains of globalization and consumerism can be trained, whereby an individual learns how to harmonize with the needs of a family. Once a person starts with uh, creating a family or indulging in a family of procreation, think again, when you are talking about this education as it should be, and when you are again connecting it with the section of society, so caste system, patriarchy, all that is there, I leave it. When I'm connecting it with industrial, post industrial, that's written over here, I have to think out of box, something which is not given over here in the sections of society or in the levels. Again, I think what all chapters are there. So in terms of it, the moment I think of, like, let's say the segment associated with, we can say, social empowerment. So in social empowerment, I can say that with education, the tools of social empowerment can be effectively utilized, whether associated with the governmental sector or non-governmental sector. The various interventions and the insightful solutions, which not only address the short-term problems but also long-term empowerment of the communities, can be ensured. Okay, people, they not only seek some immediate benefits in the form of subsidized or free goods and services, as it is good to create security for short term, but in long term it can create dependence. So true empowerment can be created when people are educated, skilled, with multiple segments or with multiple skill based approach, whereby various opportunities of employment are opened, and the empowerment doesn't stop there. Real empowerment happens when self actualization happens. Full stop. Self actualization is a continual phenomena whereby just by donating once or helping someone once does not lead to self actualization. A continual effort to give back to the society and humanity leads to self actualization. Full stop. True education guides us to this form of real empowerment and development. I'm just recalling the syllabus, tallying it continually, right? An educated population can be free from various challenges pertaining to preventive healthcare and curative healthcare. The importance of yoga can be trained. So, preventive, like healthcare, when we talk of it, preventive and curative healthcare, we have different segments. Recall all of it, put it here, right? I hope you are getting some segment, right? Are you getting it? Syllabus, just recall the syllabus. Syllabus is the key. The moment you have to think about economy, think of the syllabus of economy. What is there? I was glad to see that all of you were able to recall the points of economy quite healthily. When I was discussing economy, you all, like, where is the slide which all of you created? Just a second. Yeah, this one. So in economy, when you started talking about the points, I really liked it because you were able to recall economy syllabus unconsciously. Savings is associated with banking, right? Budgeting, investment, trading, tax. I was like, good. This is how you're supposed to deal with. So any topic, those students who say, oh my God, essay is so random, it's not random. What happens is that when a student is supposed to recall, a child tends to feel lost. Oh my God, what to do? But the solution is what? The solution is the UPSC GS syllabus. UPSC GS syllabus helps you to open all the segments associated with dimensions. The moment you see social, recall the syllabus of social issues. And that's why I always say recalling the syllabus is essential. Memorizing the syllabus is essential. It helps you to keep a check which topics have been covered. The ones which have not been covered, is it supported with notes? If not with notes, then what is going to happen to that topic? Also, the topics that you become aware of, you are also getting motivated to update it from newspapers and magazines. That's what social. So social, remember social issues like syllabus, Indian society GS paper 1, social justice GS paper 2, cultural, think of art and culture syllabus, political, think of the polity syllabus, legal administrative, think of internal security, IR, governance, that segment, science and technology syllabus, environment syllabus, economy syllabus, psychology can be connected with ethics. Ethics, which chapters? I have taught you emotional quotient, or rather emotional intelligence, right? So you can connect it with the chapter of emotional intelligence, you can connect it with the chapter of attitude, you can connect it with the chapter of aptitude. Three topics are there related to psychology. So some general psychological segments, if you are able to recall related to the topic, great, write it down. Like for example, education as it should be. So ask yourself, psychologically, what should education create? So you'll be like courage, confidence, clarity of purpose, belief in our ethics and why we should follow the ethics, the logic behind it. Psychologically, it also gives us a clarity of purpose related to life. Psychologically, it sensitizes us to be compassionate. So, all that. And along with that, all this segment, ethos, pathos, logos, Aristotle, I had discussed, emotional intelligence, recall that. Okay. So attitude, aptitude, so attitude formation I had discussed, remember that, recall, and connect it with the topic, connected to the topic. That's what is required, right? Can I write all your roughs? I mean, to begin with, on one hand, you were struggling with how to write 18 pages yesterday. Today I'm giving you the tool how to create content for 18 pages, and then you're like, oh my God, this is so much, how to handle this? Yesterday you were in the position of repeating yourself, second or third page, whatever I write, I will have a tendency to repeat it on 12th page. Today I'm saying and sharing these tools, that how you don't need to repeat yourself, you don't need to repeat yourself at all in the component of essay. Every single sentence can open a new realm of idea, new possibility related to the topic, which is in depth and rich. I was like, ऐसे तो 20 पेज लिख सकते. Yes, so very true, so very true. This is a tool that if ever UPSC reverts back to 2013 mode, whereby it had asked all the students to write only one essay of 2400 words. If ever UPSC tries to play something like that, that write only one essay related to one topic in like between 2000 to 2400 words, still you can write with this tool. That's what. Okay. So we should have to write all issues, dimensions. No, you can without any heading. When you are doing rough work, you can write heading, Nikki, because while doing rough work and brain mapping, because brain mapping is organized thinking, you're drawing a map, you're drawing a map of ideas. So while doing the organization, while we can consider, while making the rough structure, you can write all these segments. And with respect to every segment, you can keep incorporating the points. Can I write the notes in my notebook for brain mapping? Oh yes, you'll get, Gulam, you'll get the annotated PPT. So you can download it, take a printout of it. I've tried to keep the handwriting as legible, as neat as possible, so that you don't have any problem in reading it later. Okay, so just take a printout. Can we start the answer from any portion? As per the suitability of the topic. If the topic is on tribals, then you should not start it suddenly with, like, let's say, political segment, okay, or problems. When you're getting a topic, as per the suitability of the topic, you should start. Like, for example, education as it should be, and someone starts with history, doesn't make any rhyme or reason, right? So as per the suitability of topic, choose which segment should be prioritized first and which segment should go later. All right. So can you please repeat the topic? Which topic? Okay. Initially, I think, where will I get the content for 1200 words? Now you are feeling that not 1200, you can create much more. So true. Yes, so very true. But remember, dimensions is coming from UPSC syllabus. Memorize the syllabus so that whatever the topic is, you can tally the topic with what you have studied in the syllabus related to it. Even for philosophical essays, you will get the content. Let me show a brief glimpse of it. Okay. So you have this segment of, like, let us consider mindful manifesto is the catalyst to tranquil self. Let us play with that topic. Okay. So mindful manifesto is the catalyst to tranquil self, right? This topic. Suppose you have created a lot of segments, all right? All the topic sections of society covered under social dimensions. No, Nikki, sorry. It means, again, you also slipped out by not paying attention while I was discussing. If you remember the Indian society syllabus, first topic is salient features of Indian society. Second topic is diversity. Third is impact of globalization on Indian society. Where do you find impact of globalization on Indian society? Sections of society, individual, family. You can create something. Secularism, communalism, try to find it. Regionalism, try to find it. They are isms, they are ideologies. Okay. Population, see it. Various subtopics under population, if we talk about it, sex ratio, when we are talking about migration, when we talk about death rate, birth rate, think of all of it. You can see this. Again, dimensions of urbanization like smart city, when we think of dimensions pertaining to slums, child labor, problems associated with drainage, resource management, think of it. There's so much of scope and space which is not covered in sections of society, which is not covered under levels. Okay, Nikki, I hope you can see that. Again, further, if you move ahead, you can think of topic like poverty, you can think of hunger, education, healthcare, human resources, think of like NGOs, self-help groups, donors, charities, associations, schemes by the central government, topic like social empowerment, right? So you can see that it is not covered in under any of the category, sections of society or levels. That's why social is written independently. Because if you remember the syllabus of social issues, that is, if you remember the syllabus of Indian society social justice, you can understand that there is a lot more beyond sections of society and levels. All right. Sex ratio, yes, it can be connected with the segment of gender, but gender is associated with impact of male, female, and LGBTQ. Whereas sex ratio, when we are talking about it, what causal factors can impact the sex ratio beyond patriarchy, there can be other segments also which we can talk about. Okay, health related intervention, technology, this and that. Okay, but beyond doubt, yes, it can be connected with gender issue as well. Yes, migration can also be connected, Femina. While writing the answer, can we take any country as an example and write it as an example? Yes, if the topic does not suggest India. If the topic is India, then refrain from global examples. If the topic is not related to, like, not exclusively dealing with the word India, then you can bring in the global examples as well. That's why we have world and universe under the segment of levels, Akhil, as you can see. Nikki, is it clear? Are you there? Because this explanation I provided for the sake of your clarity, because I had repeated it earlier. Okay. Can awareness come under social? Awareness is a topic which can be associated with any subdimension. You not only need social awareness, you need cultural awareness, you need political awareness about the laws, rules, regulations, right? You need awareness of scientific breakthroughs. You need awareness of, we can say, emotional quotient to be exercised to the vulnerable sections. You need awareness of human values and why they are essential to be exercised, to be executed. So awareness connected to social will be limiting, Grishma, okay, when we are speaking of it. Yes, awareness is also a social segment, beyond doubt, right? So now, when we are talking about this given topic, mindful manifesto is the catalyst to tranquil self. With respect to this given topic, when we have to think about, mindful means conscious or aware planning. When we are planning with a level of awareness, okay, so like planning with awareness will lead to a peaceful existence. That's the topic which UPSC had given. So like aware planning, or we can say conscious planning, can lead to a peaceful self. So what kind of, like we can say, conscious planning is needed culturally also? Because when you inherit your culture, when you know your culture, see, what is culture? Your your past generations have offered solution to various problems that have existed, and how to overcome those problems. So traditional solutions, that's why we focus on Ayush. What is Ayush? Ayush is something which we have inherited from the past in the form of Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, okay, homeopathy, right? So that's what mindful manifesto is, a catalyst to tranquil self. Anyway, so cultural awareness, when incorporated in national development, individual development, it helps us to, or saves us to not repeat the mistakes of the past, and how to design or align ourselves to the future. Conscious planning socially, socially for every segment of the society. Think about it. Conscious planning politically, what kind of laws are needed for the society, what kind of rough edges, rigors, conflicts needs to be avoided in the society. Science and technology, you can think it from the perspective of artificial intelligence, robotics, cyber threats. When we are consciously planning, we are prepared for it. Okay, it is something which can lead to a tranquil self. Suppose someone saves all his life savings and produces a movie, and the movie leaks on Telegram. People are like going gaga over the movie. Wow, what an amazing movie. But the loss to the producer, someone put in all their life savings, or maybe a sizable chunk of their life savings on like a specific content, a qualitative content, an out of box idea, and that is just lost with a whiff, because, like, there is no planning, there is no law to regulate channels like Telegram. Intellectual property rights of a person lost, because the technological tool breakthrough came, but the country did not have a law to regulate it. Like, let us consider, we teachers, our bread and butter is our lecture. Okay, and suppose some theoretical content, hardcore theoretical content, suppose it ever leaks for any teacher. Okay, and it is available for free on Telegram. Yes, it is making knowledge accessible. But how about that person? Who will be interested to come and listen to that person? The person will lose bread and butter. All those dependent on him, his children or other dependents or other causes, social causes, the person is investing, will be lost. Think about it, right? So science and technology, it is a boon as well as a bane. A boon when you are regulating it and using it for your benefit, a bane if you it becomes regulation free. That's why the threats with artificial intelligence and robotics, is it going to create a list of unemployment, especially with respect to mechanical jobs where creative reflection is not needed? Yes, you can think of nuclear planning, chemical planning, yes, cryptocurrency. Amazing, amazing. Now you can see that mindful manifesto is the catalyst to tranquil self, tranquil, peaceful. when you are at peace, when you are living at peace, right? So all of you are understanding the importance of dimension, how to pull up the segment of dimension, right? Some kind of ease and calm must be settling in your nerves related to content creation. So far, I have not discussed organizing it. So far, I have not discussed types of introduction, types of conclusion. These are segments. Now, you tell me very honestly, so far, whatever I have discussed, like related to idea generation, related to brainstorming and brain mapping, I know it is generating confidence, but now my question is it, do you believe that this is going to take 15 minutes, random brainstorming plus brain mapping clubbed together? Will it take at least 15 minutes for qualitative reflection and content creation? Yeah, qualitative reflection and content creation, right? Okay, 15 minutes is agreeable. So far I have been able to justify 18 minutes. 3 minutes choosing the topic, 15 minutes idea generation, 18 minutes here. Towards the end, 2-minute polishing, because if you don't run through the content, silly spelling mistakes, grammatical mistakes can be missed out. Why to miss it out? Why not to run through the content? Why not to underline the keywords? So 2 minutes there, so that is like 20 minutes. 2 minutes towards the end. Yesterday I explained you the importance of to relax and detach. It is important to calm down, relax and detach. So far I have been able to justify how 22 minutes has to be invested. Okay, so out of 90 minutes, utilization of 22 minutes has been explained. There is still segment associated with choosing the topic, sorry, the segment related to types of introduction, types of conclusion, and the segment pertaining to organizing the essay. Some core areas are still left with respect to basic structure formation of an essay. So I have been still working on the structure formation. Now, there is something important which I will be sharing with all of you after these types of problems and all. Okay, the do's and don'ts of essay. Okay, so the do's and don'ts of essay, majority I have constantly been speaking, but enlisting it is important. So just have a look what I'm saying. First and foremost, all of you know you have to pay attention to a handwriting. It has to be at least soothing enough. You can see that I paid specific attention. This is when I write very super speedy on this page. What you can see is it's my super speedy handwriting. But I am capable of writing this way also, which is here in like brain mapping sheet. Despite the handwriting going shrinky and I'm writing like this, still it can be legible. Okay, so keep the handwriting legible when we speak of it. Again, with respect to this grammar, please pay attention to grammar. This is not a GS paper. If grammar is haywire, it will lead the examiner intellectually bleeding. Imagine every page we read and suppose we are like, kach. This is like rather than 2, it should be 4. Rather than 4, it should be off. And it's like cut, cut, cut. After every 2, 3 sentence, helping verb is going wrong, time and tense is going wrong, sentence formation going wrong, prepositions going wrong. And suppose you're feeling that in every page 3, 4 problems. So it's not one page that we are reading. We are reading 17 to 18 pages. So again, problem, next page, problem, 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 problem. By the time it will be like 18 pages, like, it was like an exhaustive essay. The child has reflected from multiple dimensions. Ideas are quite interesting, but writing skills are bad. It is breaking my flow and connectivity. The impactfulness, the engagement, the interest is somewhere getting impacted. And the moment that is felt or experienced by the examiner, what will happen? Marks will be deducted. So you have to work on that. How to improve preposition? Well, with respect to grammar, when we are speaking of this given segment, if anyone in the class is struggling with this, please, you can buy PC Wren and Martin. Okay, Wren and Martin. This is a good high school English grammar book, and also plus buy its key to the book also. What is the method to solve it? Never start solving the exercise, like never start reading the instruction given in the chapter. Never. Straight away start solving the exercise. Like, why, ma'am? That's the standard protocol, to first know the rule and then solve it. That's the school day method. Today, majority of you have developed a sense of right and wrong towards grammar. Yeah, this is sounding right, this is sounding wrong. You know grammar by how it sounds. not by how it should be. And that's the problem. Like McDonald's has established the idea that I'm loving it is correct English grammar, which is not. Any word which is based on feeling or emotion can never be with ing. I love it. You cannot say I'm loving it. It's grammatically incorrect. Smelling is different from smell. The food smells good. But the moment you're smelling, that means you're consciously sniffing and trying to identify a smell. That's related to identification. Touch, the touch of the fabric is good. I am touching. Touching does not mean touching, it means feeling and trying to identify. Like in a dark room, when you are touching the switch, so you're feeling for the switch, you are searching for the switchboard. Meanings differ. Okay. Similarly, when I'm talking about tasting, the food tastes good is different from I'm tasting the food. Tasting means I'm like investigating the quality of the food. Okay. Basic grammar, elementary grammar. And students, they don't know. If you have committed a crime, you're supposed to say I, you, and he were involved in the theft. But if some good work has been done, it should always be you, he, and I have helped the poor. The order of the grammar: 2, 3, 1 when good things happen, and 1, 2, 3 when bad things happen. Basic rules of grammar. When students don't know, they goof it up while writing sentences, while expressing themselves. So, this awareness related to grammar is something which you understand only when you know the application of the rules regulation. So, the method is solve the exercise directly. While solving the exercise, you will find, like especially in Wren and Martin, the third part is common errors students do related to parts of speech. So when you're solving it and you're not seeing the rules regulations, you will have some doubts. Whichever question you have a doubt, encircle it. There will be questions you don't know, no problem, keep attempting it. When you tally the answer with the key, you will realize that the circles that you had put under doubtful questions, few are correct, few are incorrect. Okay, few questions which you did not know, still you attempted, they are also few correct, few incorrect. And then when you read the rules regulations, it stays in your brain why it went wrong. What is my standard pattern of thinking versus what ought to be there? Because if you read the rules regulations and solve the exercise, you will end up making more correct, but that will not be a part of your memory. What becomes a part of your memory? Mistakes. When you commit mistakes and you become aware that, oh, this might be incorrect, I'm not so confident, and when you see the rules regulation, it stays with you. Oh yes, this is something which I should have known. Or, oh, yes, I did not know this. I should memorize this. That's why at your stage, I always suggest this thing to the students that please, first and foremost, solve the exercise, then read the rules and regulations. A simple thing, when I ask students, you shall go to the market. Okay. You shall go to the market. Okay. And we also have a word like you will go to the market. Okay. Now asking the first one, this one, the first option, you shall go to the market. Is it suggestive or is it coercive? Yes, people. Is it suggestive or is it coercive? Give me the answer. Suggestive or coercive? All right, Kaushik, I'll just explain it. Don't worry. Okay, so there is a mixed bag of opinions coming from different students. Someone is saying suggestive, someone is saying coercive. I can see this. Please understand, your entire constitution of India writes may, sorry, writes shall. Why does the constitution write shall? Is it giving you a suggestion? Is the constitution saying that if you want to do, you can do it, otherwise you can skip it? No. There is a grammatical rule. When you use I or we with will and it becomes coercive, okay, this becomes coercive or it becomes more deterministic in the similar manner. Okay, in the similar manner, please remember, with you, he, she, it, they, in simple language, with second person and with third person. Second is you. He, she, it, they is third person or with a noun. Whenever shall comes, shall becomes coercive in nature. All right. I hope all of you are understanding this. That's the role of grammar. And these are the subtleties which also influence the way you are interpreting a passage in CSAT. So, application of grammar helps in multifarious ways, not just writing an essay profoundly, correctly, because it's not flamboyant words or very tough words that you need to write a good essay. For writing a qualitative essay, you need a basic understanding of grammar which is qualitatively rich and correct. Simple. And Kaushik, as you were asking about this, two is second person, okay, third person, and first person. So, who is first person? If you have forgotten the rule of grammar, first person is I and we. Second person is you, singular or plural. And third person is he, she, it, they, or a noun. And that's the order which we follow. Good things, when they are happening, you first write you, and then you write he or she or it or they, and then you write I, and then you write the good thing. And if any wrong thing is happening, you first own it up yourself, then involve the person in front of you. So I, you, and he. Okay, cheated, looted, whatever. So that's okay. I hope all of you are getting an importance associated with grammar, punctuation, all these. If you mess it up, it messes up the possibility of getting selected. Yo, that's what. So first we quickly brainstorm, then list out the typical problems, not typical problems, general problems. Oh my God, why problems? First, after doing the like brainstorming, then start with brain mapping. Related to the topic, start with any of the segments. Start with levels, sections of society, then problems, types, dimensions, or you can start with dimensions also. Dimensions, levels, problems. There's no particular order to brain mapping. Okay, Devansh? That's what. Fine. Yes, high school English grammar. Renan Martin is high school English grammar. Okay, that's the basic level. High school English grammar. And it has also common errors. Third part, part 3. You can borrow it from your neighborhood child also. Okay, so part 3 discusses common errors. This is the area which majority of the students commit mistake. Even if they have decent understanding of grammar, they commit mistake in this common error segment. All right. So one idea here in each dimension, it depends, Kavana. If some important area is there, you can put 4 5 ideas also. So it's all about the importance of that segment related to the topic. Fine. All right. So I think all of you have gained some kind of clarity related to, I would say, the component of brainstorming and brain mapping. Okay. Please go through do's and don'ts. Come up with your queries related to do's and don'ts of essay. I will start the session tomorrow with do's and don'ts. The mistakes, the challenges which students have related to do's and don'ts. And then tomorrow we'll discuss types of introduction and, if possible, types of conclusion. All right. So that's our target for tomorrow. Thank you, all of you. Good night and take care. One segment, one para, yes, that's what you need to follow. Let me know if there are any other queries tomorrow. Thanks. Good night.